One.
Okay,
Let's not get demonetized.
It's demonetized.
I've had trouble with YouTube lately.
You can't be demonetized if you aren't monetized. Easy.
Thinking ahead of
Yeah,
me.
but they can still like delete my videos.
I don't think that's what demonetized means, man.
Well, they
Like
claim
2 seconds of me like humming that, like, bro, demonetized.
but like I've legit
Dude.
had videos removed because a Star Wars music played in the background, and they
Oh my
removed
God.
it because they're like because for some reason YouTube's system is just fucked up, and like instead of like copyright claiming, they like just get rid of the video.
Hold up. Does the Wayback Machine host downloads as well? There's no way.
Oh, what are you trying to do, man?
I mean,
What are
probably.
you trying to do?
You know, just get some porn, guy stuff. Just some guy stuff, Some things
Some
for the
guy
bros.
stuff.
Oh, getting
Some
some ready porn.
homie stuff.
This one is for the bros.
One for the bros. Okay.
Haha, I was right. That guy's stupid. Guy's like, hey, yo, the website doesn't exist anymore. Does anybody have a download link? He's like, I'll send you the torrent. And he sends a link of the page from the Wayback Machine. It's like, you can't do anything with that. Does this guy not know how downloads work? You can't download something that cannot be downloaded. Did he even try it himself? Because he don't even have the mod. If he had the mod, he would just make a mega himself. Like, what's going on here?
What's going on? I think I know what you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah. I agree.
Wholeheartedly. Truly.
All right, are you ready?
What exactly did he say?
We haven't started.
Yeah, I started earlier. Like when I counted down, that was the starting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright. So Ryan, tell us, what are we discussing today?
Yeah. What's a Star Wars podcast about?
Star Wars Season 7, the last season of the Clone Wars.
That's strange.
That is indeed strange. I thought we were talking about episode 8, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's
No,
talk about
I'm
the
good.
horrible sequels.
Oh yeah, the horrible sequels.
We could do that later.
We
Start
can all
with
fit it into
something-
one giant podcast.
Yeah, one giant Star Wars podcast.
Very depressing time for us all.
I mean, we did
you
get
could do like
Season
a
7,
sequel
so...
podcast to this one and call it the podcast Strikes Back or like something Strikes Back.
That is indeed what we call a brain moment.
Yeah. See.
Alright, so we want to talk about the first Bad Batch arc.
Ooh. Bad Batch.
Yeah.
I mean, we might as well, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was the first arc, so we might as well start there.
Alright, so first of all, we should get everybody's opinions on it.
I thought it was...
Go down
liked
the
it.
list in order
I
of who's
liked
in
it.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I
or
liked
if who's in
how
Discord.
creative the designs were for the clones. That was really cool.
Oh, the new
I like
art
the
style. That was...
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's talk about the new art style. Man, it improved so much from the original Clone Wars.
Yeah.
That looks so good.
Yeah, honestly, it does.
Who remembers seeing General Grievous in the new art style? Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
dude, he's so cool. Wish he
I mean,
acted like it though.
The texturing work is better. I don't really think there's much difference in the art style. Unless I'm just
I
being
think it's the lighting.
Well, yeah, I think it's like
I mean-
the 3D effect and like the lighting, because the lighting looks way more detailed now.
I mean, you can definitely
it's
see a
just-
difference between Season 7 and Season 6.
Yeah.
certainly.
I also think their animation work has gotten quite a bit better.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
disagree.
it looks
You
looks
disagree?
kind of like cinema
Yeah.
quality. So
Yeah, I disagree mainly for the fact that you can tell that they're still holding some of those weird, overly cartoony animations from Rebels. Like you can
Oh,
certainly
yeah.
tell they had time with Rebels. It just really bothers me specifically in just normal talking scenes. Maybe not so much in the action scenes. Maybe like some of the action scenes kind of took a hit in the like first half of the Ahsoka arc. Like it was just really strange to see them very clearly using the same style of animation, like these same reels that they had planned years ago, but then the action is updated, like with modern, like hand animated with the next arc, it's just kind of jarring. But mostly what I wanted to touch on is just the weird like head and shoulder movements just in basic conversations, and it's really inconsistent if they want to stick to that. So I think it's mostly a holdover from the animation reels they had left over from the original story arcs that they just decided to reuse. Because when you look at the Mandalore arc, you know, the animation is much more just crisp and smooth, and it just flows so much more nicer.
Yeah.
But then with the older arcs, like Bad Batch holdovers and the Ahsoka and the Twins arc, like it's so much more Rebels like. It's a lot more fast movement to quick stop, like and then another fast movement to a quick stop, like extremely bobbing your head forward, shoulders following second. Just really weird stuff like that. To me, it's really a nitpick. It doesn't really hurt the enjoyment of the story overall. It just kind of bothered me a little bit.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah,
Well,
but I don't really think it's an animation issue. I just think it's kind of annoying. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's more of just a personal gripe with me. I mean, what I'm talking about is very subjective anyway. There's not really an objective spin you can put on that. No, it's just me personally.
All right.
Well, I think
Go ahead.
I think like one thing about it too is like if they change the animation too much, people might get jarred. You know, if you're like watching it like from season 6 to season 7, I think that might be like a thing because you know people haven't watched Clone Wars in a while, and I'm sure like plenty of people going into season 7 are like, okay, I'm gonna like watch the past few seasons, you know, so I can be like caught up on the story and like get to where we're going on from, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But even then, I don't even think that's too much of an issue because kind of the difference in what I'm talking about isn't really so extreme. It's just instantly noticeable to everyone. It's kind of a very subtle difference. It's honestly just like, are you moving your entire body into the direction you are talking, or are you talking like to someone just kind of sitting there more kind of chillaxed, kind of not bobbing all over the place? That's just kind of all I really am thinking about. I don't even think what I'm imagining is too different from the original.
So like instead of them just sitting in a box talking, they're actually like have like the motion capture stuff. Is that what like you're talking about?
Yeah, I just think it feels so jarring to me when they're kind of moving like a Bugs Bunny character. It's like they're moving like a Looney Tunes character, but just without their bones, like morphing and just like crushing itself to like skinnyfy one piece of the head and enlarge the other. They're moving like that, just without the bone crushing thing. So it just looks so weird to me. Like, you don't need to bend your entire body downward and forward to just say what in surprise. It's just, like, it's kind of strange to me. But you don't see any of that in the Mandalore arc. So I'm just thinking it's probably a holdover from previous reels. But even then, in Season 6, there's not a whole lot of that. So I'm wondering if that might have to do with the transition of workers from, you know, Clone Wars to Rebels.
Possibly.
You know? Did you say something there? You cut out.
Oh, we just said,
Yeah, but once again, that's just me. That's not really a negative I can realistically say is like, oh, yeah, it's a reason why Clone Wars sucks or some shit. Like, it's just a new thing.
Like, it's kind of like the, when Ahsoka fights Darth Maul in the Mandalore siege. Like, to me, the battle felt different than the other battles in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Like, it felt, like, smoother but slower.
I think it felt a bit more dynamic than the other fights.
Yeah,
there were like stages to the fight. Like you can like cut out different stages. Like first you had the first part of the fight, right? That happened in like the fucking the basement or whatever the fuck.
The
right?
throne room.
Yeah. Well, she fought in the basement, and I might be wrong because I haven't watched it in like a week or two, but I think she like lost that shit or something. And then Maul was like, "Yo, come with me, let's do this shit." And then they fought in the throne room.
Yeah.
Then she pushes Maul out of the glass, or Maul escapes. Right? He tries to dip, and then they fight on top of the like fucking glass ceiling or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be.
They were like under a bridge and they're on rafters or something. Is that what it was?
I think it was a glass ceiling.
No, it's a dome ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And honestly, I thought that was pretty cool, to be honest. But it's quite dynamic, if you ask me, because usually a lot of the battles in the other seasons, it was just sort of they keep fighting in this one area, right? And they might move to a different room, right, in some of the fights, or they might have like different stages, but it just feels like, I guess you could say it feels like separate fights when they do that, but in this one it feels like it flows better. That's just my opinion.
So
I
kind
don't
of
know
like
what you guys think.
flow from Revenge of the Sith, where they're fighting in that, like Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting in these
that's
different
what I
scenes.
got
sets.
from it. They just kept moving throughout the environment, like one room to another. It felt real nice and seamless between them. It didn't really feel like a 3-stage boss battle. We fight in this area now, in that area. They just kind of kept advancing towards each other through these cooler locations.
Yeah.
Like, just like the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight. I thought it was really neat.
And you really could feel like the shift of power, right? Like you could see, like at the beginning, Maul was actually quite powerful, right? And then as it progressed, Ahsoka adapted her fighting style or whatever, right? And slowly she started getting the upper hand. And when Maul lost his lightsabers, an oh fuck moment for Maul. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was a pretty good fight.
Yeah,
I'm not
that
saying
was
it was a
pretty good
bad
fight.
fight. It just felt different compared to like the other fights in the Clone Wars.
Honestly, I think it's actually a good thing, to be fair.
And one thing that I just kind of thought was strange story-wise, I kind of get that the writers like just would never want to go down this route, especially since they have like little time to tell it. But I thought it would have been much more interesting and made a little bit more sense, considering that they decided for Ahsoka to be partially swayed by Darth Maul's words of like, oh, you know, there's a bigger thing happening around us. Join me and you'll understand, that kind of nonsense. The fact that she was even somewhat tempted by it really makes me wish that she at least would have gone like, all right, you're kind of bullshit. The Sith way is bullshit. You know, you're probably going to just try to keep me underlined while you replace the guys at the top. But if I go undercover and try to kind of like do some espionage or just try to find out what he's talking about while understanding to not be tempted by him, kind of be like a covert ops style mission. Like, I thought that would have been much more interesting, but they just really didn't have any time for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one like gripe I've been seeing like people say online about like season 7, and especially like a finale with like Ahsoka and whatnot, is that like she's too powerful in like the fight with Darth Maul and whatnot, and like people are saying, hey, if you hate Rey because she's too powerful, well, Ahsoka in this fight, she's too powerful too. You know, I mean, I've seen like that gripe.
She's had 6 seasons to train and get better.
Well, like that's the thing too. I'm kind of thinking that, you know, she has more of a build up, and you're like, oh yeah, she's that powerful because she's had like that much time to train. You know,
6 seasons is a lot.
She's been trained as a Jedi since birth, like virtually, like unlike Rey. So,
also, honestly speaking, I think she's pretty well matched with Maul. I don't think Maul is like one of the most powerful Sith Lords by any like stretch of the imagination. Like, he's more powerful than like the apprentices, right? Because he was one of Darth Sidious's apprentices. I mean, kind of like there's more there, but he was good enough to be an apprentice. But also, Ahsoka has indeed trained under 2 of the best like Jedi Knights in the Order as well. So I think she's quite matched with Maul. I don't think Maul is as powerful as everybody wants him to be.
Especially when he spent a lot of the Clone Wars cut in half and inside a dumpster chute.
Yeah. I mean, he spent most of the time inside a dumpster chute. So I mean.
Just imagine if you reverted back to like spider legs and just crawling all over the place.
Honestly, I would love. I know it would have been cringy, but I would love to see him with the spider legs again. I think that'd be so funny.
Honestly, I wish they carried out the spider legs longer. That would have been so weird.
That would have been so cool.
It would have been so funny to see some arc like freaking the mother is all like, your first task will be to build your own legs. Go off and and your journey.
Prove your worth to us.
Just to see him like twitch all around would be hilarious. But yeah, I think honestly, the only real complaint I have with the Ahsoka v Maul fight would probably just be that they didn't really make Maul flashy enough. It just feels so weird that he's using his lightsabers so reserved when, like, in the movies he's jumping and flipping all over the place, and especially with the strength of the cartoon, you can do that. Like, he's such a flashy martial artist when it comes to his lightsaber dueling that it felt so weird that he was swinging that thing around like freaking Jedi Fallen Order, how reserved he was, just pew, 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 pew,
Yeah, he
like,
has a
rotating his
very
body
aggressive stance.
instead of, like, it's just weird, you know. He's such an acrobatic guy when he fights, like, it's just weird not to see that.
I kind of agree with
really
you, but like one of the things that I'm pretty sure you all get the impression of this as well, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for. But I think Maul isn't at his peak anymore at all.
Still
Like,
knows how to fight.
He's
Like,
half
he
the man he
obviously
used
still
to
knows how to fight, but yes, he is indeed half the man he used to be.
be.
But the thing is that Maul 1, I'm sure he's still adjusting to his new legs, right?
No, I disagree, dude. Hasn't it been like over a year and a half at this point?
Well, if you think
I mean,
about it,
he's already
though,
been through battle and battle, captured by pirates. He took down crippled the Mandalorians after already being crippled. Like, he's been through quite a bit.
but
Well,
at
I
this
think
point,
it's
this
the
is after the
change
torch
with
of
him
Palpatine
going
as
from
well.
spider legs to regular legs. You know, I mean, if you have spider legs for so long, you know, you get used to them.
Mhm.
well, think about this,
Yeah,
though.
but-
When Darth Vader was cut off all 3 of his limbs, his connection to the Force was cut by a lot. And then if you think about Darth Maul, a less powerful Jedi, well, not Jedi, but Sith than Darth Vader,
Mhm.
and he
Was
loses
that
half his
carried over in
body.
Disney canon, though?
That's a good question.
Because I know that's a huge prevalent thing in the EU. You know, your connection with the Force. Like, they really kind of doubled down hard with that midichlorian count, that being tied to your flesh. You lose connection with the Force, that kind of crap.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if they're really ever going to go that angle again when it comes to Disney canon. I'm pretty sure that they're just full on ignoring it because of the backlash it got.
Yeah,
Honestly, I'm unsure what's going on there.
Yeah.
well, it's really weird because all the all the extended universe books that I used to read, now all of them are non-canon, and that really threw me
unfortunately.
off. You know, because you read all this stuff, you know, all this extra stuff that was so cool. There was a book on the IG-88 background, and that was so freaking cool. But now it's all non-canon, and you're just like, oh, where do I go from here?
I don't want to really derail because I can talk about the expanded universe topic for literal days on end if you really wanted me to. We should probably move on before you get into the topic.
Yeah.
We'll leave that for the next podcast.
Oh, don't worry. He has as well. Every time we talk about Star Wars, he has to fucking bring up the expanded universe and talk about it for 3 hours.
It is so hard for me not to. I love it, man.
One thing at a time, Coco.
Yeah.
It's okay. One step at a time.
Mhm.
Oh.
But anyway, we should probably go back to the first arc, though.
Yeah.
Okay,
We jumped from the
first
first to
arc,
the last arc.
Let's go. Yeah.
But
So I think one thing that I want to say about actually the first arc is that I personally really felt like Bad Batch was really unneeded. Like, not even in just terms of this being a 1-season thing. There's not a lot of episodes. That's something I also agree with. But just Bad Batch being a thing on its own just feels so unnecessary when you already have so many specialized clones during Phase 2. I mean, it seems weird considering they would even bother to make Republic Commandos canon, yet introduced another kind of Republic Commando that specializes in the same exact kind of missions.
Yeah.
Just why didn't you make a Republic Commando arc instead? They could have found 5s, and we would have already had more of an attachment to them than these new characters. Right now, all we really got going for them is just their general archetypes. To me, they're nothing but their archetypes.
Yeah.
yeah, that is indeed a good point. Honestly, I don't think it's overall a bad idea. Right? It's a pretty cool idea. The thing is, considering we only had 1 season, I don't really think it's something that should have been in the show. It could have like before. I know we talked about this, but it should have been like a comic or a book.
Yeah. That's something that I tell everyone when it comes up. Like, that should have been an origin comic for a series about Bad Batch and Echo. Like, leading up, it would end with the Big Bang of, like, Order 66. Maybe they could be the ones to... You could, like, tie that into, like, Wolf and the... Whatever other clone, like Rex was within Rebels. They could have been the ones to get rid of the inhibitor chip in them. You know, they could have been the ones to go rogue and try to, you know, get rid of it as much as possible.
Yeah, like,
I mean, that would make more sense.
Like, think about this. We only found out how Rex got rid of his inhibitor chip because we didn't have enough time to find out how the other ones lost it. I know in Rebels, I believe one of them it was touched upon, right? I think it was Wolf who was touched upon, maybe. But, like, there's another guy as well. I don't remember which clone it is.
Gregor.
But yeah, Gregor. But, like, he just kind of dipped. He literally just faked his death, and that's it. That's
Pretty
what
much.
happened. Like, did he, like, not have it? Because I know, like, in that arc as well, he lost his memories or whatever, but did that mean his inhibitor chip was damaged? Like,
Honestly, I wish the inhibitor chips were more explained.
Yeah. Well, they seem kind of like plot devices, to be honest.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of inhibitor chips. I was always 100% against that, like, story thread. And honestly, outside of that, it just limits storytelling. Like, now you can only tell one story of the clones being forced without a doubt to enact the order and the Jedi being surprised every time. Like, that's pretty much it.
Like, honestly, Dave Filoni made his own version of Clone Wars at this point. Like, he could have went somewhere completely different with it, because it's his own story at this point.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think everybody would have been happy with it. But
Well, in the old continuity, there is... I remember touching this upon you about the story group members of Lucasfilm made a canon tiering system, and contrary to popular belief, that's not separate continuities. That is a way to cancel out, like, any contradictions in retelling the same story between different mediums. It means, like, if a book and a comic retell the same account, but the comic and the book contradict each other, the book takes #1 priority. That's all that means. What happened because of TCW contradicting virtually everything, after writers constantly trying to reconcile it, they gave it its entirely own unique canon tier, which was like the first of its like own canon separate to everything else. But obviously that happens so late in the life cycle that, like, all the books trying to reconcile it, the damage has already been done. So what you were saying kind of already happened, but it just happened too late in the life cycle of Legends to really ever take effect.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, if he wanted to, something that probably would have been more interesting. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but to be honest, they could have had, like, a small, like, fucking, like, rebellion coup type shit go on where some of the clone battalions fucking actually like their fucking, like, Jedi leaders, right? Some of the clones actually like them, but of course they were also bred to follow the orders of the Galactic Republic as well. So, I mean, you'd also have people who are indeed, like, indoctrinated as well.
Yeah, that's what happened in EU. There's stories like that all over the place. The Republic Commando books cover it pretty well.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, on top of that, now you can also have a story that touches on, like, the topic of indoctrination, which is also a pretty fucking, it's a pretty interesting topic, if you ask me.
That's touched on a lot in Star Wars, man. The entire Jedi Order is fueled indoctrination.
Exactly. So, I don't know, I think that was a missed opportunity, if you ask me.
Well, I feel like the main problem with, like, the clone troopers is, like, the chips. And I feel like instead of, like, doing, like, the chips and having them in there, maybe have it where they're, like, subliminally, like, hypnotized or whatever, or, like, mentally, where they're, like, mentally programmed to where, like, hey, if you hear 6-6, killing there's Jedi, you know, instead of, like, having, it's a chip, you know. That way, it would make more sense for, like, these clones to, like, rebel because, you know, they developed so strong of a bond with the Jedi, you know, that they were under, you know, and that would make more sense, like, with Rex and all them going rogue because they had such a good bond with the Jedi, you know. And the other clones, you know, are just see themselves being used as tools. They'd be like, oh, kill him, you know, I don't care about that Jedi. It would make more sense, you know, like from a story perspective.
I'm getting
Yeah.
some Cold War vibes from that.
See, it was handled very similarly in the old EU continuity, like with the exception of maybe ARC troopers and Republic commandos who were literally genetically bred differently. Like all of the cannon fodder and whatnot, they were bred to like essentially be less questioning, but it wasn't a state of they were born robots. They would like be put into the war and just through time of just learning like a normal human being, essentially like just a normal baby growing up, they would eventually gain their own personalities, gain their like think the way they want to think. So by the time of the end of the war, the seasoned veteran clones, the ones that were there since the beginning or whatever, that went all the way with their Jedi generals that grew to love them, they got the order and they would instantly know something's up. Because yes, although you're born programmed essentially to be less free thinking, it doesn't mean you're not able to progress in your own personality and still learn and think. It's like
Yeah,
that's
like
it.
I
All
think
the
we're
shiny
also-
virtually would go along with it, but like any seasoned veteran wouldn't. They were like infighting between clones, even like it was cool. It was awesome, great storytelling. But you can't
Yeah.
really have that with the inhibitor chip.
I think we're
No,
also
yeah,
forgetting that some of the clones actually hated their Jedi generals.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
yeah. I don't really think that changes much of anything I said though. I mean that can still happen.
Well, I mean,
Like there are some
You make
Jedi
it
generals
sound
that
like-
are just complete dicks to their battalions, and
Yeah.
I'd imagine they would just be like, "Yeah, fuck that guy."
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know Krill was obviously like a secret Sith Lord, or not a Sith Lord, but like an apprentice or whatever the fuck. But I'm sure there were plenty of Jedi generals that were just like him because his tactics were accepted; they weren't frowned upon necessarily. Like he
Well,
was a good
Is there
general.
actually material on Krell other than Clone Wars itself? Because
I'm not sure.
because in Clone Wars, all we know is that they see results, so no one really cares.
Yeah, I mean, to
Like-
be honest, when you have an army that you can literally grow out of test
Mhm.
tubes, right? I mean, granted, they aren't as expendable as the droid army that you could literally
Yeah.
pump out millions in like one rotation of a planet, because
Mhm.
you know days don't exist in Star Wars. But the thing is that
the Galactic Standard Day. Thank you very much.
big brain. But the thing is that like you know, as long as you're getting results, especially in this point of the war where everybody can see it's coming to a close soon,
Mhm.
right? I don't really think any of the higher ups would really care. I mean, you know, it would not exactly be nice to see that you lost 20,000 troops in one battle, but if you won, I mean,
Yeah, man,
it's better
throw
than
them in a test tube. They ain't fucking human. They ain't got no soul. Send them out there.
But also, what you're talking about earlier, if I could just touch upon that real quick, with the
Mhm.
inhibitor chips, I think them giving the clones personalities and then having the inhibitor chips, it just kind of contradicts itself story-wise because, like, I get they're supposed to be tragic characters, but I'm thinking
It
more
removes
like,
the tragedy in my eyes. There is nothing tragic if they literally cannot control themselves. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
it's just like a surprise
situation.
betrayal that can be explained with a blink of an eye. I mean, look at Ahsoka. She only had to bring up a file that, I guess, if you're a general Jedi, you could just open it. Like,
Yeah, and also the thing is it doesn't have like the surprise factor anymore either because we all know it's gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
we've seen the
you can still
movie.
do workarounds in a story to still make it tragic. I mean, I still feel tragedy when I watch episode freaking 3 anyway.
Yeah, but the
Like, I know
thing,
what's gonna happen.
yeah, but it's because of the way, like you said, it's because the way the story is told,
Yeah.
right? But here, it's just sort of, I know what's gonna happen, but there's nothing
Yeah.
really special about it. Like honestly, like the last arc where she's trying to escape the ship, it was sad, but not because
I was
Fuck
mostly
it.
sad with those poor droids.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
Poor guys.
it's
Fine.
emotional in a way, right? But not because Order 66, right? Because we all knew it was gonna happen. It was more of just like Ahsoka having to fucking struggle with the idea that she needs to fight her comrades, all these people who literally dedicated themselves to her, even though she's
Yeah.
not a Jedi anymore. So I don't know.
Well, to me,
as
it's
effective.
like when you watch like a prequel, you know that this one character that you really like is gonna die in the next in the movie that you already saw. So it kind of takes out like the tragedy. Like, oh no, they have a giant axe next to their neck. Are they gonna live? I mean, of course they're gonna live. You see the other movie, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
kind of reason why it kind of trashes like that Black Widow movie for me, because I know she's gonna die. You know, I'm not really interested in seeing like her adventures if I know she's gonna triumph and live.
Oh,
So
Mhm. But one thing that I think takes the hit the most is just people finding out. Like, I know we already kind of touched on this, but like the conversation between Rex and Ahsoka was like immediately after was so underwhelming. It was just an immediate understanding. It's like, I tried to kill you. He's like, yeah, you did, but it's okay. It was a chip. He's like, oh, okay, sorry about that, bro. Anyway, let's get out of here. Yeah, cool.
yeah, that didn't jive with me either.
Well, I
I
mean-
think like Rex maybe like breaking down, you know, like crying or like
Yeah,
collapsing
right?
on the floor,
Especially
would have
when you
been
have
like
that-
so more impactful. You know, like, hey, I nearly killed like my bestie, my friend. You know, this Jedi whom I looked up to. You know,
Like-
and there should be like more of a collapse.
Yeah.
in there.
Honestly, I think it would have been more effective if we saw him like actually scared, because we've never seen Rex like genuinely scared before. But the idea of having like your individuality and your like your self control taken away from you by
Right? We
force
should have touched on that.
is
Like,
terrifying. I mean,
one of the biggest points of the Clone Wars as a series of a whole is the clones like proving themselves that they are not just cannon fodder. They have individual thoughts. They can make personalities. You know, it's really pushed hard with the whole, I have a name. My name is Echo or whatever. That kind of crap. I'm not CT7267. So it's like having that taken away and stripped from you should have like been seen more just in a clone that got his inhibitor chip removed.
oh yeah. Honestly speaking, it was a real missed opportunity. Again, I think it all stems from one, it being such a short season, but
Oh, yeah.
also just the fact that they jam-packed it with a bunch of random shit.
Yeah, they should have not told the
Yeah.
first two arcs. It should have been completely centered around Order 66 entirely.
Well, like how I feel about like the season is like the first two arcs suck, and the last arc is really, really good because I didn't get like the arc with the two sisters. I didn't really like that one that
I
much.
think no one did.
Like, honestly, if that arc was just like in a longer season and that was the introduction arc, I think it would have been fine.
No, I don't. I feel like people are just not remembering how much Idiot Ball was in that. She threw all the spice out because they were arguing. She threw all the spice out because they were arguing.
Don't
They
worry.
had two episodes where they were trying to escape
What
back
I
to
didn't-
back, no changes. Like, it was so bad.
Well, what I didn't like was that one episode where they escaped the cells, and then at the end of the episode, they were thrown back into the same cells.
Yeah, and then the next episode is literally there's no more character revelations. They're just trying to get out again, and then it just ends with,
Yeah.
"Oh, hey, let's go to Mandalore now." All right, cool.
Well,
So, what was the point of this? Where did this lead to?
Yeah.
things, and cut out just all the fat, in there.
Wait,
But
okay.
anyway.
Pause. I gotta go get
Yeah.
Blaze. I'll be right back. Just pause for a second.
Do we have to pause?
Yeah.
I mean, you could just keep it going.
Yeah,
But-
we'll
but
keep
it's
talking
still-
bad things
We'll just
around.
fill you in whenever you come back.
all right.
So
Sounds good.
good.
Bye.
Alrighty. Alright, so anyway,
Yeah, I really did not like that arc. It just felt so useless.
Huh.
I mean, that was your chance. Like, they barely touched upon Ahsoka, like, changing her viewpoints. There's, like, her going, oh, maybe the Jedi aren't that great, to, maybe I should join Maul. It's like, okay, that's a bit of a leap. I would have liked to see her transition a little bit more.
Yeah,
We
like
could've used that
her
arc so
questioning,
much
like,
more.
is like all the stuff that she was trained in and believed in is all false. That should have like more of an implication, like her thinking about it, and her
We
questioning. it.
learned nothing from it. All we learned is like, oh, the Jedi can't be everywhere. They kind of neglect a few things. Yes, that's the point of the entire war as a whole. We already know this. Ahsoka knows this. She was there training an entire rebellion on that one planet as they were like, oh, we can't give aid there. And they're like, oh, they never can give aid. It was like, yeah, you're kind of right. Congratulations. You learned the same lesson second time. Now you're considering joining Maul. It's like,
Say,
okay.
Do you know what the things, what the tiny issues are? Tiny issues, I mean really big issues. Is that Ahsoka's like the middle arc, right, where Ahsoka makes like new friends and shit.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's a fine idea because we haven't seen Ahsoka for a while, so I kind of wonder what the fuck she's been doing. Because, like, I doubt she's been doing absolutely jack shit, waiting for the plot to call her back in.
No,
right?
I'm
But
sure
the thing is it kind of feels like the start of a GTA game. Like, she's just doing like literally beginner stuff. It feels like the introduction to a movie. Like, literally, last arc, we were doing fucking spec ops shit behind enemy lines. Fucking finding out, oh fuck, the fucking CIS have been using Echo as a fucking analytics computer to fucking fight the clones, which was underwhelming, now I think about it, because it literally had, like, no build-up. It was just, oh no, they're losing this battle. Oh wow, they're always fucking losing. When aren't they? Right?
Yeah, we could have showed the impact of Echo way more. As far as we know, that was like the first battle they actually used him in, and it didn't even work because they immediately found him out. So it's like, okay.
Thanks. I'm glad to know
issue
Echo has
for
been
me.
tortured viciously
Yeah.
for one arc.
Oh, it's a bit pale.
Well,
Let's
like,
forget about
if
arms.
they had it to where, like, it was like episode 2, like, like the bad guys kept winning, and they're like, how are these guys doing this? You know, what's with their
God, they could've been
tactics?
great.
Usually it's dumb, you know, and then they eventually build up and find out that Echo was being used and tortured. You know, that would have more effectiveness. You know?
Like, if you wanted, like, honestly, if you wanted to have if you desperately wanted the Bad Batch arc in, what I think they should have done is they should have put the season into 2 arcs. One that is the Bad Batch arc, and it starts off with the battle, right, on the planet that's going on, and they're fucking losing like motherfuckers, and perhaps have a line where the fucking CIS have been kicking their ass, because in, like, even before this, we know the CIS at this point has been kicking ass.
Yeah, they could use Echo to show that, but I guess not.
They could have been like, yo, Echo's the reason why they've been kicking ass. Like, even though the CIS should be kicking ass anyway, because they're a literal robot army, right, with, like, top-tier generals, but, like, on top of that, now they have literally the equivalent of a super weapon against them. Like, and then have, like, oh fuck, alright, we've had, like, our special ops units, like clone commandos and shit, and they found intel about, like, an analytics computer or some shit.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you fight the same enemy for like 3 years, you start to get an idea how they fight.
Yeah.
It's just like in World War II when the Americans were fighting on the Japanese islands, like, they'd purposely, like, you know when you'd reload the M1, it'd make that ting noise?
Yeah.
They'd purposely throw those things down so that way the Japanese would think they were reloading and do their Banzai charges.
I have things to say about that, but that is a completely different topic, and I don't want to get off topic.
Well, I think, like...
Okay, you probably know what I'm gonna say as well.
I really don't. I mean,
you don't want
if it's gonna be something about the sound, like, the sound is noticeable. Like, I don't know. Let's not get derailed.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is it's not noticeable in a large battle with many guns firing.
No, I meant, like, you'd be sneaking around and, like, you know how the Japanese would, like, hide and set up traps? Like, they'd randomly come out of the grass to do their Banzai.
Yeah. See, that still doesn't make much sense now, because why would they sneak around and then just, like, unload the clip and expect them to not realize something's up? Hey, no one's firing, but I just heard a clip unload. What's going on there?
I don't know. This is a different topic. Who cares about this?
Okay, yeah.
Well, I think personally, like, if they would...
Hello?
Cut out there.
You know, and to give Echo a bit more build-up, it would have been, like, so much more better. You know?
They should have used Echo to better give you, like, an overview of what the war, like, what the tide of war is at this point. Because I think, like, Clone Wars 2003 Volume 2 did a really good job of that. Like, it essentially gave you a bunch of really fast clips of just the CIS pounding the crap out of the Clone Wars, which would then lead to them, you know, like being on the doorstep of the Republic. We don't really see that at all. Like, at all. Like, I think that's more of an issue of Clone Wars as a whole. You don't really see the tide of war itself. You just see a bunch of battles and you're told, this could be the Republic on the fringes, but don't worry, plot armor. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry, boys. This might be the Republic's end, but you already know who wins.
They just
Oh,
could have
yeah.
done a better job at showing the tides.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
are we gonna talk about the 2003 Clone Wars in this, or are we gonna just leave
Well,
that
We
for
brought up from time
One
to time.
thing at a time.
Yeah, let's finish
Yeah.
for season 7 first.
Okay.
All right,
Like,
so
we
should
could
we?
definitely bring it up, like, from time to time, but, like, you know.
So any like closing thoughts on Bad Bad? Because I think we talked about that to death at this point.
Um,
Not really.
Okay, well, I liked it for the most part. I felt like Echo should have gotten a little bit more build up, you know, a little bit more drama there. And I felt like the rest of Bad Batch could have had a little bit more development character wise, you know, instead of just being 2D cutouts, you know.
I feel like they only gave us that art because it was fan service. Because we've already
Yeah.
seen it incomplete. Now we're just seeing it in better.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna give us one, why didn't you give us the others that were almost done?
I think it was purely just for Echo. They would probably did. Oh, these people like Echo. They would like to see him be alive. Let's just do that because that's a guaranteed win. Because Echo.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was just a lot of that arc was just fan service straight up.
Yeah, I kind of get that.
It was to give us hype for the rest of the season. Like, you give us a good arc at the beginning, fan service, and then the
Mhm.
middle arc is complete trash, and then you go out with a
I would
bang with
argue
a
the
good
same
arc.
thing for that arc. People were really excited for it because originally it was touted as, this is Ahsoka's like boyfriend and whatnot, and that by extension being like post her leaving the Order, her possibly getting a boyfriend, like that pretty much like shows that okay, she's like definitely no longer a Jedi anymore. She's thinking other things. What is that going to be like? But then down the pipeline, things got changed. Yada yada yada. It turned into something completely different. So. It was definitely the arc that had the most hype around it when they showed off the original reels way back then. So there's like no doubt that was going to be guaranteed in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, next arc. There we go.
Next meme.
There we go. There we go.
Alright.
Next arc.
Now we're talking about the Ahsoka arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could give it a rating out of -5, what would it be?
Probably -5.5.
Oh, that's pretty high. That's pretty high.
No, just kidding.
Actually-
-2. -2.
Actually, honestly speaking, like, let's honestly give it, like, a rating. What do you guys think?
Okay.
Okay, like, if we would give it to, like, 1 star out of 5, I'd give it maybe 2 stars.
It's so hard. I really didn't like anything. Like the first episode had me hooked. I'm like, oh, we're gonna see the underworld of Coruscant. She's gonna like get to know the people, and she's gonna have her like her beliefs tested. And there was like 2 like scenes dedicated to that, and that was really it.
Like,
Like it's just it was so disappointing. I mean,
the reason
Also,
why...
are we gonna mention that one time where she straight up broke the law and just dipped?
oh, they do that all the time in Star Wars.
Yeah, but she flew into like a military lane or whatever the fuck it's called, right? And they were like,
yeah.
"Yo, pull over, bro!" And then she was like, "Nah, bro, I'm just gonna fucking dip." And they're like,
Oh
"Well,
yeah, once
okay,
again,
alright."
idiot ball. Hey, you're in a military lane. You should get out. It's like, nah, I'll just keep going.
You know, it should have had like what happened in The Last Jedi happened to her. You know, get her thrown into prison because she parked the wrong place. That would have been so funny.
Oh man, oh, it'd be hilarious. I mean, what do you think she would have done if she kept going? Would she literally fly right into the Venator and just be like, "Oh, I'm a clone, I'm just a little bit defective"?
It's a little bit, and a little bit of woman.
Yeah. You know, I came out a little bit woman, so
Just immediately pulls out clone
Unfortunately, Unfortunately, the doctor from the Powerpuff Girls spilt estrogen into my test tube. Unfortunate. Well,
Yeah,
So-
there's not much to say. There's really not a lot of
Yeah.
discussion to be made on this arc. Nothing of relevance truly happened.
I mean,
Not
I
a lot
didn't
of
like
character
the
moments.
sisters. They weren't
They
interesting to
were
me.
so stupid.
Yeah,
It's
they were stupid.
they were indeed stupid.
they really lacked depth too. Like what you learned of them from the first 2 episodes is the same thing you'll learn from them all the way to the end of the arc.
We're sisters and we stick together, yeah?
But that's pretty much it. Like, is there anything else you can like give
Like,
them
I
other
feel
than
like
that?
the only good thing that came out of that arc was the fact that we kind of got to know what the average person's thoughts of the Jedi were. We also
Yeah,
got
but
to
they weren't
learn.
even like average people. Their parents were fucking murdered.
True,
Like,
but like, there's one small
I don't know
scene in
very
there.
many people whose parents were murdered, and then a Jedi just walks up and it's like, "Yo, sorry, man.
But like, there was
It's-
one.
The Force will be with you."
There was
Also
one small
women.
scene in there where there was like a little girl that saw Ahsoka using her Force powers and like pointed it out and just kind of
yeah.
showed like how little you don't see of the Jedi even on Coruscant.
I was really expecting some Last Jedi reveal at the end of the arc. It's like her like going, "All we need is hope," like that Jedi lady, and then she gets her own Disney Plus series of her growing up to be a Jedi.
All of a sudden, it's like a recreation of like the last part, and like a kid like Force pulls a mop towards him.
Like this arc
Oh,
was
man.
basically a filler, but it was a bad
God,
filler.
You
I,
underestimate the use of the word filler here.
well, it's
Naruto
like
would
that one.
applaud them for being. so
It's like that one arc out of One Piece with the dragons. You know, nobody cares about it. Nobody's gonna remember it. It was just there. So
Also, was there anything about like the Jedi being shot T, or was it just unnamed?
I think it was
It was
the
Barriss
green
O'Fiend.
chick.
Not
Yeah.
Barriss O'Fiend.
Okay, because I just want to
Barriss'
say,
apprentice,
Shock
I forget
T in
her
the
name.
Clone Wars is just a dick. And, like anything that goes wrong, I just kind of think Shock T. She's
Shock
such an
T.
asshole.
Asshole.
She is, dude.
She actually.
Yeah, okay, so the first arc that she's like prevalent in is the Clone Cadets arc, and she's like, she's fine, you know, she's whatever. She's like, oh, you know, give them another chance and all. And then when the first Order 66 with the inhibitor chip arc comes along, she goes, I've known them since cadets. And if you think back to the original arc with them as cadets, like that was the guy to show that he has like the most superior like adaptation and problem solving skills. Now the one that is shown that you said he certainly has heightened problem solving skills is now like calling out some conspiracy, and you're just ignoring it. You're like, oh no, don't worry, trust the Kaminoans. And then he says, oh no, I have the evidence, don't trust the Kaminoans. He's like, oh, you're probably right, I'll just give this to the Kaminoans. It's like, oh, you're not even listening. It's like, oh, it's so infuriating. It's not
People
even
do
just,
like
just idiot ball bullshit.
Honestly, how does she even remember them? Because like, think about the millions of clones she's trained since they've gone off to war.
I mean, I
Well-
guess he had a unique name.
yeah,
Well, she has her own battalion, doesn't she?
Does she?
Probably
Well,
her battalion.
Well,
I think it was like Rex, or wasn't it? Wasn't like Rex's battalion that like was hers or whatever?
Rex?
No.
No, he's 501st.
Yeah.
That's Anakin.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Anakin.
okay. So okay. Sorry.
Oh man, brush
been a
up on
while
your
since I
Clone Wars,
watched
you
Rest.
nerd.
Sorry, I've been
God.
watching the 2003
You're
one.
crushing my
Attack on Titan.
vibes, dude.
Crushing my vibes.
Yeah, man.
Alright. So,
Okay.
do you know what they should have done? They should have just done Umbara 2. I think that would have been just fine.
Umbara
Give us the
2.
Jabim! Make Jabim canon!
I mean, we missed
Jabim
out on the
Is the
Utapau
coolest
part.
thing.
Republic AT-ATs.
Alright, what are you saying, Ryan?
I said we missed out on a good Utapau park with Obi-Wan and Anakin, but instead we got this arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that new art style, I bet General Grievous would have looked good in that Utapau
Oh
art.
my
Like,
God.
just seeing him for that
Literally,
1
even
second
better.
was
Throw
perfect.
Echo out entirely and show Grievous being unrelenting with his advance towards the mid rim. Like, just show that as an arc and not some Echo bullshit. Like, oh man.
Yeah, actually, that would have been a lot better if you ask me.
We didn't get to see enough badass Grievous.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see any badass Grievous.
Was it till the last arc till we got pure badassery, you know, like just pure.
And even then, it was just one scene. He dropped down into the Venator and he like whipped a clone around, did his 2003 shit, and then after that, it was just him chasing people through hallways and ran away. So it's
well, like for me, I think like the 2003 version is so much better than like the.
Oh yeah.
Like the.
I don't think anyone disputes that.
Like, honestly speaking, I think the issue with Grievous is that he's supposed to be like a super top tier tactician, but he always puts himself into situations where he has to like fucking run like all the goddamn time, and that would be fine.
Fail. He's not much of a genius if everything he does is a failure.
Like, I would kind of get like this in like the beginning arcs, like where like the Republic might have been more powerful than the CIS, right? And you would have to use hit and run tactics. But I don't even think like in like the Clone Wars that the CIS was ever like really weaker than the Republic.
No.
Like, in matter of fact, I get the impression that in this the CIS has always been stronger. Like, all the time.
Not necessarily stronger. It's just they were kind of realistic about, you know, their options in warfare. They won most battles purely by attrition. They have a completely indisposable, near remakeable by the seconds, like, army. Might as well take advantage of that. Like, you're just gonna abandon a battlefield because your single battalion of fucking droids got killed? You have, like, 16 factories per moon. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have them to spare.
I already talked to my boy Coconut here about this, but like, if it wasn't part of the Emperor's plan for the CIS to lose and for the Galactic Empire to be made from the Republic, yet the CIS definitely would have won the war.
Most certainly, dude. It was just a war. It would have been a war purely of attrition at that point. They would have allowed whoever wasn't being benefited by the Republic to join their free alliances. They would have their own confederacy separate from the Republic. Like, it would have been fine, you know?
Like, you can genuinely, like, fucking, like, say that the CS are the actual good guys here.
If I had to pick a side in the Star Wars universe, I would go CIS, genuinely speaking.
Like, the only issue there is in Dave Filoni Star Wars, and
CIS
even regular Star Wars, even in the prequels, the fact that General Grievous is just such an evil bastard for no fucking reason. He's just an asshole to be an asshole. He bombards cities full of civilians for shits and giggles.
Well, he was never supposed to have the position that he had, like, in episode 3. But then again, even that's a little bit messy story-wise, because, like, this whole battle was concocted so that, you know, like, freaking Palpatine could test Anakin's, like, newfound skills against Dooku to see if he's truly worthy at this point. So, that being said, like, logically, yes, of course, Grievous is next in line. So, it's just, like, it's very messy at that point when it comes to Palpatine's plan.
Like, I know that in, like, the EU at least, right, which isn't really relevant to the discussion, but it's more interesting, so I don't care. That actually Grievous was meant to be the scapegoat for the fucking CIS's war crimes.
Yeah, pretty much.
That, like, as soon as the CIS basically won the war, their fucking plan was to basically out Grievous as the one doing all these fucking war crimes and have the CIS, quote, bring him to justice.
Yeah.
even though they're the ones who allowed him to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, honestly, if you're going to like out like one fucking like nation, I guess, one state for being completely terrible because they do war crimes, like in like Star Wars, obviously I'm not talking about real life, but in Star Wars at least, then you also need to notice that the Republic has also done quite a lot of war crimes. Like, holy shit, the Republic has done war crimes. Like, I'm just saying, killing Dooku is indeed a war crime.
Yeah.
Like, Dooku is an official of another country surrendering to Anakin, and then the senator just like, do it.
Actually, he didn't really surrender, and there's also the whole thing of Republic seeing the Confederacy as illegitimate to begin with, so I don't think it would have ever been classified as a war crime. But pretty much
they
like
wouldn't
the
have
killing of
seen it
Osama
as a
bin
war
Laden.
crime.
But you forget
that's
that
like
you can't have witnesses if they're all dead.
Duh.
easy.
Oh.
And honestly, with the CIS really doesn't like they have no realistic characterization in canon now, since I think it really all teeters together on the intentions of Dooku. In pretty much canon, Dooku is virtually only seen as an evil bad guy, and the only bits of depth you get from him is actually just from Attack of the Clones, when he's like, "Oh, I wish Qui-Gon would be here. He would surely help me out here." It's like, I don't want to hurt you guys, you know? This is like, you need to see the corruption for yourself. He actually meant that, and that was further elaborated in the EU books. Like, his whole deal with him joining the Sith was him purely seeing it like as an inevitability that they would just keep becoming more and more of a thing with the freaking Jedi and the Republic being so corrupt and always turning a blind eye and causing more problems for themselves. So his whole deal was he joined the Sith in hopes to use them as a quick way to more power so he can push the Confederacy even more and then hopefully eventually get rid of the Sith and destroy them. Like, when he says to Obi-Wan, "We can destroy the Sith," he actually means it. And that's a very important thing for the Confederacy, because it shows that the Confederacy outside of Palpatine is actually a legitimate cause, and it's not just, I'm just gonna create some problems so I can get more power. Palpatine is feeding off of a problem that's already there and that has already had tension been rising, and he's fueling it more and more to fuel himself, and you never get that impression from Clone Wars or any canon sources. And that is the biggest issue with me when it comes to Clone Wars material in canon.
I mean, yeah, I think that honestly sums it up pretty well.
Yeah, I think you said literally everything. So
Yeah.
Like, actually, I think Dooku is definitely a good guy. Like,
Certainly.
like not in the fucking Clone Wars TV show, God no, but like
To be
his
raised to
over,
must endure torture.
yeah, but in his overall depiction, I think he's actually a pretty good guy.
Mhm.
He's not really like bad to be bad. He's not Grievous, who's just an asshole for no reason.
Yeah.
Oh. And he's definitely not Palpatine, who is a literal embodiment of evil.
well, I think with Grievous, like there's the difference between the 2003 one and the Clone Wars series one is that, like, in the 2003 one, you kind of see him more as a hunter. You know, he's evil because he kills Jedi for sport. You know, he sees that as hunting for him. And with the other version, he's just bad for the sake of being bad. And I think that's really why
mustache twirling villain of the week style.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like villain of the week, twirling his mustache. You know, and I feel like that's what makes 2003 Grievous so much better, because he's a hunter. He does it for the game. You know, not because he sees a Jedi as like you know, force for all good, but because he's a hunter. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a fair opinion.
And where was Dirge? Dirge was a huge part of the Clone Wars in reality. Where is he in 2008? Come on, just like bring him in. Come on.
You know, you just want to see Dirge.
He was so freaking cool in the comics. He literally drowned a Jedi in lava, destroying his arms in the process. That's how devoted he is. The guy's insane.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, going off of that, what do you guys think? Do you think all villains should have a side of, you know what, they're not just bad to be bad, or do you think it's alright to have a villain who's just pure evil?
Oh, it's alright. Yeah, it's fine. You can pull it
Well,
off.
it's good to have a villain that's pure evil, especially
Look
if
at
like the
Palpatine.
thing that you have it in is kind of cheesy. You know, it could work. You know, like Skeletor, he's not overly in-depth villain, but I enjoy the times when he comes up on because he's evil for the sake of being evil. That makes him so enjoyable to me because he's like, nah, He-Man, it's me. I want to rule Eternia. You know, it's
No,
enjoyable to
you
watch.
can't do that. Nah.
He's like, no, He-Man, you can't do that. Nah.
Well, we
Telling
were
me
talking about how
wooden gun this entire time. Skeletor's a weirdo.
we were talking about how Grievous was just like being bad to be bad. Did they get rid of the part where like his ship was blown up and like Dooku like took him and like turned him into a cyborg and told him like the Jedi are
that's
the
no
one
longer
that did it?
canon. He doesn't ever have that warrior backstory and him being deceived and whatnot. Like none of that is in canon. That is all like
Yeah.
old material.
So he's just
And it's super cool material.
Yeah,
as well.
it's so
Yeah.
cool. I'm not really
Yeah.
brushed up on his origins, but from what I remember, I thought it was really cool.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I watched like 3 videos on it. It's pretty damn dank. So, anybody fucking have anything else to say about Ahsoka's arc since we completely stopped talking
Okay.
about it?
okay. Final
I'm
thoughts.
satisfied.
2.5 stars. 2.5 stars goes Ahsoka.
I give it 2.5 stars. Good idea, bad execution.
Yeah.
Extremely bad execution.
Yeah.
And also not exactly the best place to put it, considering how much time they had. Like, as cool as it would have been, like, to see it done well, honestly speaking, I think they should have just left it out. I think it would have served better.
Yeah. 1 out of 5. We learned nothing new, nothing of relevance pertaining to the next arc. It felt
Well,
like a
we learned
complete
about the
time loop.
Mandalorians
Two
and
episodes
Maul
near
being
each other.
involved.
Hmm?
Without that arc, we wouldn't have known about like how the Mandalorians met Ahsoka and how Ahsoka knew Maul was alive.
To be honest, I think that's kind of irrelevant. With how
Yeah,
little
yeah.
time they had, I think it would have been acceptable for them to basically say, "All right, Ahsoka, you know, she
They had
actually
the-
went to go see her old friend because they're friends."
They had the transmission to go that Ahsoka finds out Maul is alive. The Mandalorian recruits in the outer
they could
rim.
have done
Like,
that, you know, like Ahsoka visiting her friend. I found out that Darth Maul is alive. So you know,
the Republic's life force is now on the brim. It's like,
all of a sudden the voice says, "The dead speak." You're like, "Oh no."
Wait, wasn't that actually something that the announcer said when Yoda found out Qui-Gon was alive?
Wait, is it?
what?
Yeah, it was like the dead speak, and then it
No,
talks
no,
about how Yoda
that's
could
him,
hear Qui-Gon.
What? What are you talking about?
Isn't that Force
Oh, that never
Ghost? When
happened.
Yoda found out about Force
In epi-
Ghost?
Yeah.
No, in episode 3, he was like, to commune with your former masters. Teach you I will. And he was like, Qui-Gon, really? Like, are you, like, daft or something? You taking, like, too many death stick hits right now? He's like, get over here.
Are you taking speed? Too much ketamine?
Want to go home and rethink your life.
Unfortunate.
Yeah,
Okay.
Clone Wars was aight.
Just
Okay.
right.
Okay, we ready to talk about the best arc?
Yes.
That's Star Wars?
Yes. Okay, come on, let's
Well-
get to it. I've been
Well, the
waiting.
best arc of the season, correction.
Yeah.
The best arc of this season. You know,
Oh,
not the
dude.
best arc period, but the best arc of this season.
Okay, but dude, I say one of the most well done scenes in the entirety of Clone Wars was in this arc when like frickin' Rex just goes to Ahsoka and he's like, dude, these people, my men, are ready to die. They are bred for this moment. And he's like a tear going down his eye, like, ooh, that was good. That you could have not done that better.
Oh my god.
And there was no jank animation to turn me the wrong way, so frick yeah.
That was so beautiful. I think
Oh,
a
that was
tear about
great.
came from my eye as well because it was so cool. So, of course, I like that part where like Ahsoka jumps from the ship and then lands, and an explosion happens behind her. I don't know. That just looks so cool to me.
Okay, the only
was
gripe
like,
I had with
yeah.
that scene was that gunship's doors were still closed. So that means the clones were still inside that gunship. Every clone in that gunship just got oofed.
Yeah, me and Ryan watched like the fucking Ahsoka arc so for this, right? Because fucking Coconut, you already know that I just didn't watch. I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck that. You said it's terrible. I doubt I'm gonna like it.
Mhm.
Right? And you were indeed right. It's not something I'd like.
Yeah.
It's not something I enjoyed.
Yeah, something about that arc that we talked about was like that was her first time ever using a blaster, and she like oofed several people.
Well, we have to mention which character, what's the fuck's her name first of all? Because
The
I don't
little
remember.
one or the big one?
The little one, the little
Yeah, I don't
sister.
See,
Start
we didn't
with
care
that.
enough about those characters
Little
to
guy
even
and big
remember
guy.
their names.
Little guy and big guy.
Is it
Easy.
Rafa or something? I think one was Rafa.
One of them is Rafa, and the other one is not Rafa.
Michael Hadeen!
Honestly, I just remember them from their hairdos. That's basically all I got from them. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just imagine the silhouette of their scalps.
scalps. I don't know.
Oh my god, Coconut. I mean, yes, but dear God.
Who else thinks that like their acting wasn't the greatest?
Oh no. It was it was different to say the least.
It was just so weird.
I don't even know why it was so weird because the acting in Clone Wars is actually pretty alright.
Like their
Pretty
acting
good.
felt kind of forced.
Well, that's because they were obviously comedic relief character. Like, yeah, they were telling a pretty
Were
sad
they really
story, I
comedic
guess.
relief characters? I mean, they really weren't. Like, not even just me saying, oh, they're not funny, hardy har har, but they're not, like... were they?
I don't know, man. I
They really
that's
didn't
the
do
impression
much.
I got. Like,
It was so weird.
They were
because
more
it was
funny
always
than
kind of
anything.
Weird, like, goofy music in the background. You had, like, the chimes going,
Yeah.
like, but it was like, it was over normal scenes. Like, even the soundtrack just didn't fit that arc. It was so weird.
yeah.
My girlfriend pointed it out to me. Like, she's like, why is this track playing over this scene? It's like, okay, clearly it's not over just me then. It was just so weird.
Yeah. Like, honestly speaking, I think the thing with it was that it seemed like it was meant to be a more of a light-hearted arc with some like fucking like to elaborate on like the universe a bit more. But the thing is that it's supposed to be a light-hearted arc, but also in the very same arc, several people get tortured for them fucking up a drug run. Like, I'm not
those
quite
rascals.
laughing anymore.
Like we even talked about
Wow.
how they
Torturing the
oofed
fuck.
workers that were just trying to make a living.
Poor workers.
Yeah.
And then Discount Bosk gets fucking murdered. Murdered in cold blood.
Oh, just comedic hijinks. No.
Like, I think the most jarring part was the fact of how lightly the fucking arc took killing people. Like,
Yeah, for a
Usually the
lighthearted
rest of the
arc,
Clone
they killed a
Wars-
few people.
like the rest of the Clone Wars, whenever like actual people die, it's quite like it's portrayed as quite a dark thing. Like, fuck, these people didn't really need to die, right? And in this arc, oh fuck, I guess we're just gonna kill like several people. I guess since they're like working for a drug cartel, that means that they're like instantly super evil people.
Oh god,
Well,
yeah.
well,
Can I?
Like, even in like the other arc, like the Ahsoka arc, when those like clone troopers die, you know, you have a moment to be like, "Oh crap, they're dead."
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
literally the entire last arc was her saying, I can't kill these people. They're people. Like, they're people. Not only are they people, but they're people that I care about. And then in the arc before, she was literally murdering.
She likes Rex. She likes them all. Am I right?
Hell yeah. I think there are a few obvious train jokes that could be made. But, I think that was just really jarring. And especially the sisters, I get Ahsoka might be used to people dying because she's a fucking soldier. That's pretty much what she is. Right? As much as she doesn't like to admit it. Right? She's a child soldier. And, the other ones, though, you think they'd have a bit more of a reaction to, literally murdering people who have lives and families and goals and aspirations, But I guess not. Basically, my impression is that the sisters are absolute sociopaths.
Yeah.
That's it.
You can't worry about anyone else, sister. You just gotta worry about yourself. These people ain't got souls. Only we got souls. Just dispose of them. Just get rid of them.
Fuck, I just realized we went back to the arc again.
We did.
We're jumping all over the place.
You! No!
You talk about one issue and it stems through the rest of the season.
Okay. Here on out, let's just not talk about it anymore, okay? No more.
Ban Clone Wars as a whole from the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, honestly speaking,
let's talk about the Clone Wars movie.
No.
Well, we still haven't talked about the last arc of this season yet.
Alright, guys, we're only talking about the comics, but only the canon comics.
I liked it when a few days after Vader got murdered on Mustafar, he starts killing clones without issue. That was my favorite part.
I like it whenever Kylo Ren gets angry.
Oh yeah, it's really funny to see, you insulted me, and then have him kill everyone.
Yeah, it's pretty epic.
No, it's good.
I like that part where he just makes a little tantrum, he slashes a little corner, that vehicle. I thought that was pretty funny. Looking back, when I first saw it, I was like, oh wow, this guy, he's so intimidating. And now I'm like, no, he's just lacking. He's just insecure. But anyway.
Wasn't there a comic in Kylo Ren where it's like he went to this species of people who were visited by Vader in the past, and they kind of worshipped him a bit for being so powerful, and then this whole thing is like even Vader couldn't kill this beast. He had a battle with him, but then he left, and then Kylo Ren literally kills him in the next few pages, no problem.
Oh yeah, I sent that to you.
Oh okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
I don't know if there's context around that, similar to the Nogri in the Thrawn trilogy, where he left the beast to kind of keep them in line somehow. How with the Nogri, he purposely kept their planet poisoned and told them we're working on it, and by you giving yourselves as warriors for the Empire, we will help and give you our top scientists to continuously work on fixing your planet. When they knew how to fix it, but they just didn't. I'm wondering if there's that thing, and I just don't know the context. I never read the entire comic, but from that snidbit, it was just oh, okay, so basically Vader was useless and retarded.
Alright, so I know this is completely off topic, but can I mention 36 emeralds for a bell? Fucking excuse me?
Hey man, those are pretty expensive. They're made out of raw emeralds?
Hell yeah. Why do they look so gold? Paint does wonders.
Don't ask questions, shiny.
Damn, really had to hit me with that.
Oof. Oof.
That is indeed an oof. So, last arc.
Yeah, back to the last arc.
It was good.
It was really good.
Okay.
Oh, I thought the fucking first part was really dumb though, with the clones and the jetpacks. It made sense, but just the way they decided to do it was okay, yeah, guys, we're gonna ambush them from below. Good, great plan. I love it. But we're gonna come out from under the bridge before we reach them, and we're gonna fly at them for a minute without shooting them, and pray they won't shoot us. Okay, mission accomplished. They're not shooting at us anymore. Now we're gonna continue flying over them and then shoot at them. Huh? just get out from under them and just bomb them. Like,
Yeah,
you have LAATs flying past them. Why didn't you just use those air support? Like, what?
Well, I mean,
Or
they
like-
did
or
kind
like,
of
since
show
we're
the
under-
air support being shot down by the droids.
Well, they didn't.
But they didn't
No,
have
they still showed like a
Well,
bunch
to me,
flying
at least,
past
since
them
they were
anyway.
underneath the bridge, and since like bombs exist, why didn't they just put the bombs underneath the bridge? You know, and just
Well,
set
you
them
blow
off
up that
from
part
remote-
of the bridge, you kind of blow up the whole bridge, don't you?
I mean, I guess that's implied, but there's a couple explosion holes in it already, so like, wonder where those came from?
Imagine
Like,
it's
just
a pretty
removed?
strong bridge.
I mean, we know that there's like mini artillery that we saw from the Camino arc, like in one of the prior seasons. Why didn't they have that? Like, they literally had like handheld mortars. Why weren't they using them?
Because
No.
the plot didn't require it.
I guess so.
I think fucking Anakin suddenly turning into fucking what's his name, Mad Jack from World War II, the guy with the fucking broadsword, just standing out in the open, and be like, those Jerrys can't hit a goddamn thing. I'm just like, all right, Anakin, I know you're kind of like OP and all, you know, the whole chosen one thing.
That's a concept. All
You need to like chill. Like at least before he would actually, you know, take cover, you know, occasionally.
No, he really wouldn't. Like, even in Umbara, he like got out of the LAT, no one shoots at him while he has a conversation, puts up his lightsaber, then they shoot at him, you see him going forward, and then he stops, makes a post to the side, everyone stops shooting at him, and then he brings it back up and they start shooting at him again.
Yeah.
It's like
I
that kind
think
of happens all the time.
Yeah, I think that's just a side effect of like fucking talking in battle.
No, that's just Clone Wars.
You
Even
mean
with like
plot
standard
armor?
firefights, lasers are just flying all over the place between skirmishes of like 5v5. It's like, you guys cannot hit shit, none of you can. Like,
Oh no,
it's
it's
really annoying.
really weird.
Like, after picking up on it, like, and me and my girlfriend are watching a bunch of arcs in the Clone Wars right now, and after we started really picking up on that, there's so many scenes, like so many fight scenes that can just be freaking put way down in terms of how long they are, because it's just so much shooting and missing and virtually no talking, and then they die after a bit. It's like just kind of fire back, fire back, fire back, guy dies, move on. Fire back, fire, and it's like, just keeps going.
Like now that you mention it, alright, because I haven't really watched like too many arcs, right? Because a lot of the arcs, especially the filler arcs, are kind of
Mhm.
right? Like, you know, some of them touch on some interesting topics, but since it's a filler arc, it doesn't really fucking go anywhere,
Yeah.
right? Either that or it's half-assed because it's a filler arc and you need to get
Yeah.
back to the actual story. But one of the things is that it kind of feels like a lot of the firefights are sort of like fucking firefights in Call of Duty, where you see it from afar, you see like your fucking guys shooting at the enemy NPCs and everybody's basically missing, maybe one or two guys would die, and then as soon as the protagonist show up, everybody in the enemy team fucking dies, and they're like, alright boys, time to go forward. Like, oh wow, I'm glad that your presence has given them such a morale boost that you actually increased their accuracy by 10%.
Yeah.
It's okay. I played enough Fallout to know that Anakin just has a follower trait that increases accuracy by 100%.
He has the
there we
ring
go.
from
That explains
Assassin's Creed
everything.
3 where
You know?
bullets literally bend away from him.
I'd kind of get it, like if they bend away from him, if he's like using the Force. But I'd imagine like if the best way you'd explain that away is just, oh, he passively uses the Force to defend against blaster bolts.
Mhm.
Because I imagine he's been around them quite a lot, you know, being a frontline general for some reason, and you know, I'd imagine he'd be pretty decent at doing what he does.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It's also kind of a cop out when you think about it, because it
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
just
makes him
padding. It's just
invulnerable.
fight scene padding, and a lot of the time there's not really enough interesting going on in the firefights. It's just fire, return fire until one of them drops. So
It's
it just ends up
basically
taking
a
a hit.
Civil War.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically what it is. It's like line battles, except everybody's in cover.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're in cover, not always. Because a lot of the time they're out in the open, just fucking shooting at each other, and you're like, but there's a nice piece of rubble right there, clone trooper. You have a life. You know, you want to preserve that. I guess not.
Well, it's like the redcoats, you know, in like what was it, colonial times, you know, how they would like just stand up in the open, you know, because it's more honorable or whatever.
Yeah, there's no reason to be honorable against a literal droid army.
Yeah, they don't have morals.
Like, the concept of being honorable only exists between like two people, like two sentient beings that understands that what they're doing for the other person. Because that's what you're doing when you're being honorable. It's not for you; it's for the other person.
Maybe they acknowledge the intelligence of the droids. No, that can't be
Easy.
it. Yeah, no.
But all right, back to like the actual arc itself.
Yeah,
Right.
let's get back.
Like,
Okay.
that wasn't really like too off topic. That kind of was just more of an issue with Clone Wars, though.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I see as a missed opportunity was this is the Republic invasion of Mandalore. You know, the nation of which their soldiers like idolize because they're of Mandalorian
Nope,
blood.
not canon. Not canon anymore.
Not canon.
All of the warriors were sent off to a moon in Clone Wars. They're like the planet is pretty much entirely peaceful.
Oh.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
exiled the warriors.
Come on, Lewis. Pfft, what are you doing?
Did you hear
That's-
that they were making Jango Fett no longer a Mandalorian?
Yeah, that came because of a quote frickin' Lucas said, where he's like, "Oh, fucking Jango Fett isn't a Mandalorian." It's like, okay, whatever you say. Cool.
I mean,
Wait,
It's not like you yourself advertised the Jasterman Real comics before Jango Fett was even a character because it was his first appearance or anything. Okay, Lucas. But this was made during Disney canon, and we never got the context of the information. It was literally just some guy who was like, "Oh, I had a conversation, and he said this." And I was like, "Okay."
Wait, alright, that's pretty cool. I don't know.
So
Like,
it exists. I can tell you that much.
I don't know.
Oh.
Because I'm pretty sure even in Disney canon, pretty much anybody could be a Mandalorian because it's more of a way of life type of thing.
It's legitimately just not like even touched upon. Like everything we know about Mandalorians in canon purely comes from the show The Mandalorian, and that does not really that Mandalorian and Clone Wars. And Clone Wars really goes hard on, crushing the continuity of old, even when it was supposed to be a part of it, drawing a line in the sand between warriors and peaceful, and that's it. And then with the show The Mandalorian, it's like this one isolated tribe that clearly operates different from everything in Clone Wars, and you can't take your helmet off? Like, what? Like, what? Like, it's just weird shit, dude. We just need more
like,
information
in
before we
the
can
Clone
talk about it.
Wars, you see them like take off their helmets, take a little breath of fresh air,
Yeah.
And in the Mandalorian show, you never see that.
This is the way. That's all they say. This is
I have
honestly
a
such a shitty
possible
podcast.
idea, though, is that it might actually be because, one, it's like a tribe of Mandalorians, because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, after Disney made Mandalore peaceful for some reason, that,
Oh, he's an arsehole. Doesn't care about continuity.
pretty much all the remaining Mandalorians who liked it how it used to be, basically formed their own tribes and shit, and it might be a tribe tradition, which might be a little weird either way, because, it's, I mean, you're not supposed to take it off in front of other people, but, what if you're just trying to, fucking kiss your kids goodbye or some shit? Kiss your fucking wife? I don't know.
No, Lewis, you don't need to do that.
do they
You go
get
up to them
married
and
with the
say,
helmets
"This is the
on?
way."
Do they like wear tuxedos and like have dresses? You know, just with the helmet over.
Easy. Well,
I
You
I'm
may now,
go see this nobleman. Can you help
you may
me?
now headbutt the bride. Oh, that'd be terrible.
Knocks him out.
Well, I'm also thinking it could possibly be some weird thing to do. Is that it might also be a way to stop the Empire from identifying them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you only wear a helmet, and the helmets are quite unique amongst Mandalorians, then your helmet basically becomes your face because you don't fucking take
Yeah.
off the helmet. So, I don't know. It's just weird.
I mean, but once again, you can like say all this stuff and give ideas for it and whatnot, and like you can make it work. It's just there is no explanation yet, and there really should be one.
Well, there is a reason why, and we all know it. It's just so that everybody could use the Mandalorian as a fucking as a driver seat, basically, to insert themselves. It's supposed to be a self-insert until like the
It
end.
seemed more like they just wanted to get like some funny jokes about it, like, "Oh, you ever take off your helmet?"
Well,
I
I think
think
they
get
probably
it
did like the same
either
thing
way.
with like Darth Vader. You know, like they just had like an actor like wear the costume and then have like
Mhm.
someone else voice him over. And I think that's probably like the legitimate reason they do it, because the guy who wears a suit probably just had that cool of a voice. You know.
No, but we hear him like fucking
Yeah.
with his helmet off at the end because he takes
Yeah, the
off the
guy who
helmet.
plays him is the same guy who voices him, and the same guy who does his face when he's removed. Unlike Vader, who has a different guy playing him, a different guy voicing him, and a different guy to play his face when he's unmasked.
Because also the thing is like unlike back when Star Wars was made in the 70s, they one of the issues with Vader's voice, besides the fact that they had several people playing him, is also I imagine it'd be pretty muffled. His voice would be quite muffled.
You guys know he was Irish.
But he's Irish, of
Have
course.
you guys ever
No, that's
actually
actually
seen
weird.
like
You can
the
actually
original?
see, like, the test reels without like any audio edits and just hearing an Irish
Actually
Vader.
Irish.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so weird.
I've heard
That's
the
fucking hot.
unedited
How
Oh,
version.
yep, I'm alive. I make me own luck, you see.
Yeah, but also the thing is nowadays they could just put like a microphone inside of his helmet. So, but I don't know. It really
I'd still sound terrible, dude. There'd be so much like weird echo and cleanup in there.
probably. I don't know. Yeah, but now that the depression that isn't canon anymore is done with.
Thinking that he isn't Irish isn't canon anymore.
No, that the fucking that nobody really cares that the clones are Mandalorian on Mandalore because they're peaceful now.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
That gives me crippling depression.
Mhm.
Because honestly, I think it would have been really cool to like see the Mandalorian warriors, and the clones have like interactions with each other. Because I imagine they'd both have some level of respect for each other.
Yeah,
Right.
I wish that was touched upon more.
Like even though the Mandalorians that like the clones were on the same side of were Death Watch, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they're Death Watch anymore.
That contradicts all of the Legends history in accordance with Death Watch. So
Really?
like, it's very dodgy.
Hmm.
There were like 3 factions at the time, but Clone Wars narrows it down to just one faction that got like thrown away. to remain.
Because
Honestly, it's
yeah,
such a disappointing like treatment of it.
I just assumed that they used to be Death Watch because they have the same colors as Death Watch, I'm pretty sure, and the woman said, "Don't worry, Death Watch is no more."
She
Yeah, it's
used to
cool.
be a part of Death
I
Watch.
haven't seen all the others as canon.
Yeah, I know she used to be a part of Death Watch. That's why I assumed they were like ex Death Watch or some shit.
I'm pretty sure all the soldiers she took with her were ex-Death Watch, and I'm not sure, but even the red guys, maybe half of them were still also ex-Death Watch.
No, I think they were a
Oh,
different
no.
faction because Death Watch was at war with a different faction.
Because
Yo,
remember
I really need to
they
bring this
split
up.
in half when Darth Maul declared himself as the Emperor or whatever.
The Emperor.
Not the Emperor.
Mandalorians.
Whatever they call the Mandalorian king.
The Maul Mandos. I don't fucking.
But
Well,
I mean,
he wasn't declared it. Like he was just pulling the strings. He was puppeting the Mandalore.
but like he won in a fight against the guy with the Darksaber, and he became like
Good
the
old
leader.
Peter.
And they didn't like that because he wasn't a Death Watch member, so they split in half.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember that. I haven't watched a bunch of shit in a long time. I just watched season 7 recently, and also watched Umbara pretty recently.
Umbara's a good arc.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You know what really bothered me with the newest Ahsoka season? I need to turn this way down.
Yeah, we can-
When the Mandalorian sister, when she said, "Oh, I wish I wish I was more like my sister. All I'm good at is violence." I'm like, okay, wait, hold up. So, is there a Mandalorian culture? What does that quote mean now? Like,
There was.
what? So does no one really truly believe in the ideals of a Mandalorian? Have they been reduced down so much that literally they're just box standard cool people wearing armor that want to go to war? They have been brought down so much that the literal Mandalore herself, Mandoade, says, "I wish I was like my sister, but all I'm good at is war." Ooh, God, that really irked me. Such a disregard to everything that was ever built up. It's like, oh, God.
Yeah, it's
Other than that, really liked it.
like I kind of like get what they were going for. Like they were going for the times are changing
Not
type
the
of shit.
character to say that with at all.
Especially considering she was indeed the leader of Death Watch, which were
Literal chieftain. Like, what?
yeah. I don't think her fellow Mandalorians, the actual Mandalorians, would
Literally
appreciate
at
that.
this point, under her rule, why do the Mandalorians under her even exist? Why haven't they just merged with the peaceful Mandalorians? Like, you'd think they'd be able to garner a good amount of support, considering they're feeling more peaceful, don't you think?
Wait, who left?
Noah did. I think he
Oh,
lost
alright.
connection.
It's
Alright,
just
for
God,
sure.
it's so weird. Like at this point, there's no difference between that lady's Mandalorians and the peaceful Mandalorians, considering she straight up admitted she's like, oh, all I'm good at is war. That's why I do this. So why don't you just create a Japan-style military branch for the peaceful Mandalorians?
SDF.
Why? What you are saying is just not Mandalorian at all. It's the peaceful Mandalorian way. It seems like that's what you believe in. Why are you even parading like this then?
Yeah, honestly speaking, I think the issue with the Mandalorians as well is the fact that there's only two extremes of yes war and no war.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no room for any gray areas or
No.
people are liking, hey, war's necessary, but I don't want to kill everybody.
I'm
But
saying
Not
that
even a gray area.
comics.
Like-
They are fantastic.
Which comics?
Jester Muriel. That's the guy who kind of adopted Jango Fett. It goes into very good detail about the Mandalorian Civil War. Actually respects the culture that was built from the Old Republic games, and is a realistic transition forward. It's so cool seeing all the splinters and whatnot.
That does sound pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie.
Highly recommend it. Force throws it out.
But yeah, I don't know. I think full peaceful Mandalore is just as bad as full war Mandalore, realistically speaking. I just don't think it's a good way to structure your society.
Man, all they had to do was have that lady start a protective military branch for the peaceful Mandalorians, and you would have the perfect thing. But apparently, that's just unfathomable.
You live on a planet that's completely been destroyed by war, and you live in a galaxy that's currently at war, maybe you want a defense force.
Their moon is more bountiful than the planet. Why didn't they put factories on it? Not the people you don't want in your society to be more bountiful than you. Like, what's going on there?
I don't know, man. Mandalore is just really weird in the Clone Wars canon.
Yeah, dude. Mandalore and Mandalorians as a whole was just treated with such disregard in the Clone Wars.
Fun fact about Mandalore, though, their planet was destroyed by nukes. So that means nukes were a thing in Star Wars.
Well, yeah, I'd expect it was. The thing's a desert.
Yeah, it's just not a lot of people know that Mandalore was destroyed by nukes.
You know that
I
Tatooine
didn't know that.
be a jungle.
Dude. My gosh.
The reason that Tatooine isn't a jungle anymore is because it was totally orbitally bombarded like 25, like freaking gazillion years ago by the Rakatan Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool shit. Literally bombarded so hard that everything turned to glass and then later turned to sand.
Yeah, but Coconut, that's not canon.
Hey, shut the fuck up, thank you.
It should be. Because it makes the Jawas and the Tusken Raiders a lot more more in depth about their cultures.
Well, she doesn't really say anything about their cultures. It's just, oh, that's why they're like that.
So it kind of does. It shows you why they're so distrusting of Outlanders.
Yeah, and then it also shows why the Jawas are more.
Bombard our entire planet, put even more sand on it. Maybe it'll give us oceans in the process. Actually, maybe you should bombard it.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, the Clone Wars just doesn't really treat anything that isn't the Clone Wars with respect at all.
Well, even the Clone Wars itself isn't really treated with much respect. They got rid of all the gray lines and depth that every character ever once had. Just box it in a cartoon, which would be fine if they weren't trying to fit it in with the prior canon.
Yeah.
Like, just make it its own thing at that point. Like,
Yeah.
why advertise yourself as part of this larger multimedia project if you're literally going out of your way to ignore it? Like, it's...
Like, something that also I don't understand is when they were classifying things as canon and non-canon, like the expanded universe and the canon, they put the Clone Wars in both of them.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah. They should have not done that. Clone Wars 2008 is incompatible with everything that has ever come out prior and during. It does not work.
Like I've always said, it should just be its own thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it being a story set in a universe, even if it's about a main event in the universe. If you just say, yeah, I mean, this isn't actually the main telling of the story. This is something completely different.
What Disney did was so totally disrespectful to all of those writers. They branded it all under the continuity of Legends, not just Clone Wars, but also specifically the non-canon Infinities comics. That's how lazy they were about it. They just don't care. They do not care about their own brand. Makes you really upset.
Okay, so should we move on to the rest of the last arc and whatnot?
Yes.
We keep getting off
I think
topic.
I mean, we kind of already.
So what?
When we talking about the first arc.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you guys think? How do you think the performances of the characters were?
Yeah, they're fun.
They were good.
I liked them. I really enjoyed it.
I definitely liked the mall and the hallway scene. That was pretty nice.
Oh, that was so cool.
That was pretty entertaining. Importantly though, I think all the characters, at least the characters that I remember, they act how you'd expect them to act for their character. They didn't really act too out of character. Probably the most out of character thing was Ahsoka thinking, maybe I should join Maul. That was a little weird, especially considering I'd assume she'd have distrust. I'd assume she'd have distrust for both not the Empire, the Sith and the Jedi Order. Because I mean, in reality, they're both pretty fucking similar.
Literally just like show her like ideals changing. You could like really kickstart it if like while she was in the Coruscant underworld there's like a Kaminoan meeting with like some separatist general or something. Maybe nothing was said, but it's like super odd that like it's a Kaminoan she recognized from the cloning facilities meeting with the separatists. And that's all she knows. So she knows, something's up. And then once you hear Maul like talking about something's up, it's like, interesting. Literally show us absolutely anything. Like, just to help that out. Just give us the transition.
There we go. But, yeah, I think that would have helped quite a bit. Like, as it is now, it's just sort of like, what the fuck? Ahsoka, are you okay?
Alright,
Like-
top 10 saddest anime deaths. Those droids.
Hell yeah.
That was...
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
them droids. But I think mostly, honestly speaking, I think the best part of the last arc, right, was definitely the last episode. I don't think the entire arc was really a banger. I think it was mostly the last episode, the last 2 or 3 episodes, where they were on the fucking Venator.
I won't
So-
lie, that arc gave me anxiety because I knew like Order 66 was gonna happen.
And like the thing where they incorporated like some stuff from the third movie kind of added to that as well, because you're like, oh crap, the third movie is happening while we're watching this, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Oh
Right.
yeah, what do you guys think of like Darth Maul doing like the Force mind reading thing that happened out of the Force Awakens?
Oh yeah, it's like, all right,
Oh,
cool, I guess.
I don't really think it's much of a issue, to be honest, because
It's not
we
really
already
the force power that breaks anything, like force healing. I mean,
you already know the Force can influence the
Yeah.
mind, so
I don't think it's too much of an extension to see that you could even like, with like being talented enough, go into someone's mind. Even
I mean,
I
if you're-
just like my problem with it really is more of a problem with the Force as a whole. Is that it's very inconsistently characterized, as in needs extreme concentration or no concentration, and I can't really fault that power itself for that. Like, I wish the Force was just better characterized as something that needed concentration, so you don't get things like Clone Wars 2003, everyone being a total badass. As cool as it is, and as badass, as enjoyable as it is, it really breaks a lot of stories, and it makes you ask a lot of questions. Why didn't they just do this? Why didn't they just do that? That kind of crap. They really should have put more restrictions on not what you can do, but like how much concentration, how much like stamina it needs and whatnot.
I think
More of an issue with the Force as a whole rather than the ability itself.
the thing is that none of the Force powers are honestly. I think they should honestly be said. All right, here are people, right, that could use these Force powers, and here is their relative power levels, right, and they could use these powers, but these people can't use these powers, right? And then say, okay, if you have a unique power, for example, right, be like, only this person can use this power, but this person can teach other people, or other people can learn this power, or nobody else can use or learn this power. Like, it's really that simple. And if you're wondering, alright, but like, I don't really want to read a fucking PDF spreadsheet of all the powers that can and can't be used.
Yeah.
Like, it could still be implemented into like the story, right? Like, fucking just have like somebody say, like, you have like, for example, right, like, let's say Luke could use some OP power, right? Like, he could hurl fucking meteors, alright? It doesn't matter what the fuck he could do, right?
okay.
It's whatever. You could have like Yoda, for example, say some shit like, "Oh, this is surprising. This is a power I've never seen. I haven't seen anybody in my entire life see this." And then Luke could be like, "Yeah, I don't really know how it works," which implies that he can't really teach it to anybody because he doesn't know how it works.
Yeah, but this isn't really an issue you can really solve because it's an issue that just goes too deep across all media. The showing of the powers of the Force is just too inconsistent.
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean.
It's an issue with Star Wars as a whole, really.
Well, I think if they would have like different types of Force users, like, hey, this guy is like a Zeta Force user, he can do this stuff, or like this person is Raygon and they can do this. You know, it make much more sense. You know, if they had different groups and then they have like splinter off. That, because
really
you had like
a fan of that. Because are you implying the fact that like you're born with a certain power level, or is it just more of a ranking of how powerful you are? Because if that's the case, I mean, what much does that really change?
Well, no, I'm talking like the different types of like Force abilities. You know, like these people are born with it. It'd be kind of like Avatar, you know, there's airbenders, there's waterbenders, you can do this, you know, and then you could have like extensions from that because from the earthbenders was the metalbenders, you know, it'd be like that, you know, like that system, which it made sense, you know, and you had different people, different powers, levels in that, you know. I think if Star Wars did something like that, it would make much more sense. It'd be clear, you know.
To completely reorganize Star Wars, you can't really do this. This is something that like your series
at this point we're going into fandom territory.
You know, at this point we just kind of need to accept whatever power somebody has. And then
it's just going for you have to draw a line somewhere, though. Is the main crux of what we're saying.
Yeah, like
powers are all over the place right now, but going forward, they should probably tone it back a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, they should take a look at the powers they're giving somebody and say, okay, let's look at like the other people in our universe. Would they be able to use this? And also, are they more powerful than this person? And should such a powerful thing be given to this person? Can this break anything? Like, but I think the issue is with modern Star Wars is the fact that it seems that all the stories only exist to serve themselves. Like,
oh my god, yeah, that's a problem with Clone Wars in general. That has always been an issue. But if you take that, if you're referring to sequels, that's a whole other can of worms that you really like. You can't really blanket the sequels like that because there's just too much like backstory politics that it had a hand with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like honestly, we should definitely do a podcast on that at some point.
Yeah.
All right, we should definitely talk about that at some point. But after I've watched all of them, because I haven't gotten around to watching all of them.
I keep like not wanting to watch them with Lewis because I just really don't like them. They make me unhappy.
Yeah, well, too bad. We're gonna have to watch it now. So, yeah, we do.
Like, why? Like, what is the purpose?
So you haven't watched all the sequels yet?
He hasn't.
Whoa.
I've only watched the first movie, which I remember vaguely enjoying. But then again, at that time, I wasn't really like a actual Star Wars fan. I'm like, oh, Star Wars has cool things in it.
Yeah, I was in hardcore denial when that movie first came out.
Well, I was kind of bred on Star Wars. Like, my dad showed them to me at a very young age. The first 3 movies, and then he showed me the prequels when I got a little older. So.
Oh, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've definitely known about Star Wars and liked Star Wars for a long time. Like, you don't know how many times I've watched the original trilogy. Like, it comes on, like, fucking pretty much every year at, like, the same time, and I just watch all the movies because they'd marathon it. And random times in the year, they'd also marathon it, so I just watch it whenever it comes on. Because I enjoy Star Wars. It's pretty dank. But, you know, I wasn't really as into it as I am now.
Yeah, honestly, it was really the sequel. I was always really, really big nerd for Star Wars, but I never truly got after the sequels came out, and I just specifically The Last Jedi. Just once that came out, I was just like so disappointed and just yearning for Star Wars content of old that I actually started looking into the old content, and that's what started giving me in my expanded universe craze and just wanting Star Wars even more in my life. Like, I was always big about it, but I was never an insane freaking retard about it until the sequels came out.
Well, for me, like up until like season 7 of Clone Wars came out, I mean, I've gotten back into it recently, but for like a while, like after the what was it, Rise of Skywalker came out, like I just took like a big break for a good amount of time, and I came back into it as of late. You know, I mean, I've been a huge Star Wars fan, but because of these like sequels, I've been like a little bit burned out because of it. But like, I think this new season of Clone Wars rekindled it into my heart.
So much screen shake.
Of course, he's like coconut. But
I got a multiplayer.
I kind of get it. But
Yeah.
honestly speaking,
because expanded universe is large.
like, I just like to like listen to like fucking lore channels and shit for a lot of things, right? Like, obviously one of the biggest things, and one of the things I actually grew attached to after the sequels came out was Warhammer 40k, because it's just like, you know, it has like the same fucking, I don't know, it just gives me the same feeling as Star Wars but in a different universe.
Mm-hmm.
And the
It
thing
goes into
is,
even more depth than even the old EU even.
yes, it does. Oh my god, it goes into way too much depth sometimes. But the thing
Treasure
about
of
it,
Charles of the 14th Infinite Empire's breakfast routine, part 1.
yes, and the thing about it is that it really tends to try and respect its own lore, which is what I really like about it. That, like, obviously there are some books and shit that kind of contradict each other, right? And everybody's like, all right, that kind of fucking sucks.
Warhammer's lucky they never had a Kathleen Kennedy to worry about.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. But also,
Not yet.
you
Oh wait,
brought a
the Marvel
devastating-
Comics though.
Yes,
That's
you
gonna
brought-
be a thing. I almost forgot. Ooh,
Yeah,
you just might have a Kathleen.
I really hate you for bringing that upon me.
Ooh.
Really do.
Is it bad that a part of me wants to see it become a dumpster fire just because of what happened with Star Wars?
Yes.
That
You
is
cannot-
terrible. It already
can't-
happened with Star Trek as well. I don't need it to happen to another franchise.
You
do not
can't
on
take
one-
away two
the
of
one
my
before.
favorite sci-fi fucking series, okay? They're the only ones that go into any depth, alright? Like, the only thing I have left after this would be, like, fucking Star Trek or some shit.
No, Star Trek was also ruined in the exact same way Star Wars
Trek
was.
kind of ruined it,
By the
man.
same,
Uh,
the same director, actually.
I'd have, Starship Troopers?
The sequel. Don't forget about that.
Wait,
Yeah,
you'd have
we don't
Galaxy
talk
Quest.
about the movie.
Oh, Galaxy Quest hasn't been ruined.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
What about
Harry
Stargate?
Potter was only truly ruined
you
by
could have
Clue,
Orville,
so...
you know, that's kind of like Star Trek, you know?
Stargate.
I guess it's...
Oh, Stargate, that's a good one!
Oh,
wait,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
It got ruined. It got ruined
Wait,
in like the
what?
later shows. Okay, never mind.
Oh, that's right. Didn't it have that really bad anime as well?
Yeah, they had a bad
Oh,
animated show.
yeah.
It was so freaking weird. Oh my god.
Halo had an anime that was just so mediocre, people called it awful.
Yeah, I actually watched it. I was like, oh,
It was like just
alright.
so mediocre. It's like, okay, this exists, cool, good to know.
Yeah, the issue, oh my god, the issues with that. I don't even want to get into that.
It's so weird 'cause it's not even like a thing where it's like there's so many little issues that goes up to a bigger whole. It's like not even there's something so glaringly wrong with it. It's just so existing. It's so weird. It's like, why does this exist? I guess the question is, why was it made? Like, why is it telling the story it's deciding to tell?
I don't know, it wasn't even telling a single story.
Yeah,
it was
it's
telling
so weird.
8 different stories. And the only one anybody honestly remembers is the fucking Arbiter story. That's
Oh
it.
yeah, just that like showdown scene was really neat to see. I enjoyed watching it.
Like, it looked cool, it just
Yeah, yeah.
sucked.
there's
It just sucked, that's it. But,
Really,
Yeah.
the only thing I truly remember is just the visuals of that final showdown between the arbiters, and that's it.
I mean, I guess Halo isn't completely ruined, but Halo really isn't as interesting.
No, it kind of like
The game sucks,
yeah,
but like the actual universe hasn't
yeah,
really
the
been ruined.
universe hasn't.
It's
been
just kind of
ruined.
boring, to be honest. There's not really
Yeah.
much to be said.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I
I
mean,
guess
the games were fun up until like 4 and 5. 4 and 5 kind of suck.
I mean,
I
like,
think
if you
4 is
enjoyed Reach, you could still enjoy 4, but then I think, like, 5 really ran way too far away. Like, 4 was already pushing it, but it wasn't so far gone. It was, like, a complete departure of Reach. 5 really went with the whole, like, EA Sports, like, Call of Duty type crowd. And
EA Sports. It's in the game.
EA Sports, challenge everything. No one remembers
Oh my
that.
god, that throws me back. Holy shit. You
Oh,
can't
it's
do
just-
this to me.
Oh no, this has gone to full circle now because EA's done a couple Star Wars games.
I
Hey,
mean, we
shut up.
might as well talk about Battlefront 2 now.
we have
talking
to.
about Front 2. Let's go into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
The question
Oh,
is why?
Why?
It
Because
always boils down.
Money.
Ugh. God, I just don't want to.
nah, it's too bad. You
Yeah.
ranted about this literally every time we played Battlefront 2. Now that we actually give you a platform to rant about it, you have
Yeah,
to.
I'm just like so sick of ranting about it now. I'm playing original Battlefront 2 right now. I'm having a good time. I don't need to be soiled.
Okay, with all the updates that came to the new Battlefront 2, it's not a half bad game.
Yeah, but it's still just not what Battlefront should be. It's so restricting. There is no sandbox. Like, it's a good game now in asterisks, I guess. Like, it's definitely
honestly
something that's enjoyable,
speaking-
that it can actually garner a real fan base for real reasons. It has built its market, but its new market is completely different to what the old market was. Like, the games are shared as Battlefront games through name, and that is it. Like, everything that makes the originals enjoyable still cannot be found in the new ones just because of what they are on a fundamental level. The originals were meant to be sandbox open battlefields. Literally, Battlefield in the Star Wars universe was how it was described by the game developer itself with the first Battlefront game in a fucking, I think it was Insider magazine.
Wow, that also fucking throws me back. Holy shit. When was the last time you've seen an Insider magazine?
Yeah, right? You don't even exist?
Like, I got one like 3 years ago, I think. My mom picked one up and she's like, "Here, you like these, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah," like
Oh, man.
maybe 6 years ago, 8 years ago.
Anyone even know what Insider is anymore? Like,
Oh, if you ask a Fortnite kid if they know what Insider magazine is, they'd probably be like, "What the fuck is a magazine?"
Inside your mom. lol.
Inside your mom, lol. Easy.
It's like, oh god, it's like until I get my true, like, huge, like, oh my god, it just brings up Battlefront 3, what that was supposed to be, because they never truly captured the feelings of the first two. It's like they were both ground tests for what was to come, and everything that was advertised for Battlefront 3, like, was the final nail in the coffin.
Okay. Can I mention one of the greatest issues with Battlefront 2 EA was the fact that, have you seen the amount of heroes the game started with? Especially
prequel
Clone
heroes.
Wars heroes?
6
Yeah.
original trilogy heroes.
Like, what?
Guys, we are adding a prequel era, but its content will be void.
Like, they didn't even have Anakin or Obi-Wan. Like,
They
what?
had Yoda and Darth Maul, I think.
My bad.
Was it?
Yeah, that's it.
I think it was
No,
Yoda
they
and
had
Darth
it.
Maul. I
They
don't
had
And then
remember.
they had Chewbacca as a crossover from
Oh,
the
yeah.
original
I think
trilogy.
all of the
Well,
original
they
and
had
Maul.
Anakin. He was just wearing
Wait,
a
Maul.
helmet, you know?
Easy.
Oh, do you guys remember, like, I don't know if any of you have been, like, following Battlefront, but the first time they added genuine clone skins and how absolutely terrible they were?
Oh yeah, I remember
Oh.
that. This
Oh,
clone
they didn't
skin.
even try. Like, oh, God.
They had to like go back and fix all the clone skins.
Yeah, it was freaking awful.
I still have that game on my PlayStation 4.
Ah, yeah. I'm tired.
Honestly speaking, every time I play, I get a little depressed.
Every time I play, a little part of me fades away.
Like, I could have been playing, like, if I really wanted to play Battlefront, I'd just play Battlefront 2 original. Like, and I don't
I
even
don't
play
know,
Battlefront
mod it
2
up,
original
yeah.
that much, but every time I play it, I really enjoy it. I'm like, wow, I'm depressed now because Battlefront 2 could be this, but just better.
Hey, you know, this is kind of fun.
Did
We
you
should
hear
play
they
it.
brought back the original servers for the original Battlefront?
Yeah, they actually work, unlike what they did with the 2005 Battlefront.
Yeah.
Like, they work really well.
Also, unless it's just a me issue, but TTK over long distance. God damn it, why?
Oh yeah, Lewis, what they did, you're gonna hate it. They like across the board, like I don't know what, like God, the developers are just so incompetent for Battlefront 2. Literally, they just change things just because why not? They like decreased all of the damage values for almost everything, but not quite by like 1 or 2 points across the board for the latest update. It's like what why? Like
Why did you have to tell me?
yeah,
Now you know
it's
I'm never gonna play the game ever again.
literally across long distance. It takes just that much longer, and it is so annoying.
Oh god, this one's absolutely terrible. Wow, alright.
Yeah.
Fuck me then. Why is every discussion about Star Wars just cripplingly depressive?
Because it ain't what it used to be.
Ain't what it used to be. Back in my day.
Like, I remember playing the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2 on the PS2 or 1, was it?
PS2.
PS2. Like, I remember going to my cousin's house and playing that all the time.
I had it on my original Xbox, and I didn't play it too much. But whenever I did, I was like, wow, this is actually a lot of fun. And then I'd go back to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas because I was addicted to that game.
Damn monster. Never gave Star Wars a proper chance.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of evil like that. So, any other topics y'all really have to get
Let's
off your
talk
chest?
about the stormtroopers that we got to see in the Clone Wars art style.
Oh my god, Vader looks so freaking good.
Yeah.
Oh, I can look at him all day. It really makes me wish Rebels never existed just so we can get a Clone Wars style Rebel show. Like, oh my
Right.
god, it looks so
gosh.
good.
Like, isn't Rebel supposed to get another season in the Clone Wars art style?
Oh, don't say
Yes.
that. No,
It is?
wait, really?
No,
They're gonna do another season, but it will be in the
I
Clone
don't-
Wars art
I
style.
don't want them to continue those boring ass characters, dude.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like the characters out of Rebels
They're
at all, except
so-
for like Kanan
oh.
Jarrus and the Lady with the Tentacles. I like her, but
See, I didn't even find. I
Lady
didn't
with
ever
the
finish
tentacles.
Rebels. I really struggled
heard
to get
that somewhere
through it, so
before.
I never really got far.
no.
What I was seeing, it really wasn't too impressive for me.
Yeah, it's a little jarring, you can say.
He just seemed
Yeah.
like a not as cool Ram Koda, personally speaking.
Well, like the best parts of it are like the parts with like Ahsoka and like Darth Vader, where they take up the screen, you know. And
See, I
it's
never
so
really
cool
got
with
far with
that, you
it.
know.
But even then, like, I did see those episodes, but they're just so few and far between in between the shit.
Yeah.
Like, those best moments are still in terrible episodes.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly. You know, like the confrontation scene with Ahsoka and Darth Vader was like the coolest part of that show, and yet you have all these other stuff in there. You know, you're like,
Showdown
just
between
make-
Maul and Obi was mired by their stupid subplots of the main character, little kid guy, just like being annoying and running around with his
You know-
droid.
you know, they just had like Darth Maul, like the whole episode, like just building up, like showing him like walking and nothing, fueled by his hatred for Kenobi. You know, trying to find him. That would have been so cool. You know, and just like erase his subplots.
Yeah. You know, dude, why is Ezra such a terrible character? Like, they have no clue what they want to do with him, dude. They really
Like-
don't.
Yeah.
I don't think it's particularly that his character is bad. I
No,
don't
it's
like his
It's
character.
it's really bad. You gotta watch it, dude. He's not only annoying, which I know is
Stick
subjective
with me.
personally, but he's also wildly inconsistent on what the writing demands of him and what they want him to be. It's
Alright.
insane.
But yeah, I haven't really watched it because like, oh, like, I
You
watched a
did?
few episodes. I was like, oh, Oh God, no thanks.
Animation, it irks me so much. They bob around so much.
I just think the animation just looks bad. I
I
don't even care about their
dislike
bobbing.
Rebels, in case you couldn't tell.
Oh yeah, I know. Don't worry. But the thing is, the thing that I find really jarring. What the fuck? Anyway, the thing that I found really jarring, is that fucking Ezra. He seems to be a character out of a, like, it's just the fact that his character seems to want to appeal to a younger audience, but they want to tell like a bit of a more mature story, and you're just like, do one or the other, please.
Yeah, well, like that what really gets me, you know, it's like, oh, the show is geared to a younger audience, and I'm like, what's with all this mature stuff in here then? You know, I mean, I'm just confused.
I mean,
a lot
Clone
of
Wars
people haven't
well,
watched the
it's
Clone
good.
Wars because they think it's a children's show.
I mean, it most certainly is, but I feel like they ended up like, you know, molding the two really well. I mean, it treated children like adults for the most part, like those classic Batman series from the '90s. Like it did it similar to that. It was done really well. And then you got Rebels over here. The guy is chasing his best friend with a TIE fighter, saying, "I'll let you in if you say the magic password." Meanwhile, all of Geonosis was genocided by gas from the Empire. It's like, whoa, where did this come from?
Whoa, where the fuck did the Nazis come from?
I feel like shows like Justice League and Batman that don't treat kids like they're stupid are really, really good. You know, and like have stuff, you know, that everybody can enjoy. You know, and like with Rebels, you know, it being like, oh, we're gonna put stuff for little kids in there. You know, you're just like, that's weird. You know.
Like, honestly speaking, right, not like specifically talking about Star Wars, but just in general, I think a show, even if it's a kid's show, but a show that can, like, fucking, what's the words I'm looking for? A show that can actually appeal to the kids, right, but can also appeal to an adult is probably, like, the best you should go for a cartoon.
Isn't that the ideal sweet spot of every show ever? The widest possible audience? I mean, I feel like that's...
Yeah, but I think it's particularly important in Star Wars, though, to bring it back, because Star Wars was indeed at one point supposed to be, like, a series geared towards kids, apparently.
See, not necessarily. That is a huge misconception that has just been plastered and exposed by so many people. They got swept up a lot, specifically when the prequels are coming out. Like, oh god, it was essentially used as a cop out by Lucas whenever he was being criticized, and then it's really not a realistic thing to say. It really is not.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really think it's like, I know, like, obviously there's like fucked up shit in Star Wars, right? That you probably don't want to show some kids, but also I don't know if this is just because of my upbringing where like nothing was really off the table, like generally speaking. Like fucking, I don't really think there's anything too bad with it. Like honestly, I think if you bring your kids, like you grow them up in Star Wars, it's fine. So
they're gonna grow up murderers.
Well, there is like definitely some dark aspects to like Star Wars. Like, have you read the Dark Horse comics for Star Wars? Those things get like really dark, you know, like really quickly.
But yeah, but those comics are like specifically geared towards adults, 100%. I don't know. Like I said, I'm like
no, I think comics get away with it though. I mean, comics are geared towards children because people see them as children's media, but literally there's not like really a single comic that's actually geared towards children that I can think of.
Yeah.
Not one.
Not really.
Can anyone here think of a comic specifically geared towards children?
Let me look at my collection. Give me a second.
You mean, okay, so by geared towards children, you mean something that would be considered suitable for children, or something that is actually meant for children?
Oh wait! Like old school, like silver era comics. You know, not like golden era. Golden era could get like dark. Think of like Silver Age, wasn't it? I think. But anyway, I know. I used to read like Spider-Man comics when I was a kid. You know, like the original Stan Lee ones. Steve Ditko. My parents approved of those, but like anything newer above that age line, where with like original Spider-Man comics, my parents banned, like, hey, don't read this. There's lady with big badongas. Don't read that, sonny.
I guess Superman would be the best example of a kids geared one because it's just so safe and so clean. I mean, it still deals with quite a bit of adult themes and shit, but like it really, I think it's one of the more safer superhero comics.
Yeah.
Like, overall throughout its entire life, not
Well,
just.
I think it's mainly because like Superman is like a Boy Scout and like personality. He's not gonna go killing anyone like a mass murder spree. But
like the ideal human being in alien form, like.
Well, yeah, like Superman was literally designed after the Boy Scouts, by the way. So.
I didn't know that.
Really? I didn't know that either.
Are you sure? You're positive? I mean, Superman was one of like the first mainstream like superheroes. I mean, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be too much to really just say he was based off of the fact that he wanted a superhero.
The reason why I say it's based off the Boy Scouts is because obviously, he was originally designed like Captain America to be an American icon. Like,
yeah. I'm aware of that.
In the world. And if you look at his demeanor and his like attitudes and what he says, it's a lot of the same things that you learn and that the Boy Scouts say. I don't know, it's really interesting. I don't know if he is specifically designed after it. I'd assume so, but maybe I'm wrong.
What the heck? How does that... Huh. That is so weird. Why did he do that?
Battlefront?
Ew. Okay, so this mod for Battlefront 2, I'm playing Hoth right now, and he modified the AT-AT. So, there's guns on his chin and guns on his cheek. Yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The driver controls the guns on his cheek, while the secondary seat just controls the chin guns, but they move separately.
Huh.
Even in design, that doesn't make sense because the guns just don't move like that. But he specifically programmed it because the guns move, their textures sprawl. He made it specifically so those are the guns you could why?
I don't know, man.
Ugh. Oh god. It looks so weird. Oh god, I'll just have to send you guys a screenshot in just a second of what this looks like.
Do it.
Anyway, what were you guys saying?
Oh no, I don't actually remember, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. It was in the past.
Fortunately, the past is indeed the past.
Yep.
So, anything else in particular you guys want to talk about Star Wars? I mean,
that last episode honestly was kind of sad. Just the burial scene.
I'm kind of disappointed Vader didn't really even he didn't even bat an eye at the clone trooper helmets.
Literally just picking up the helmet and then throwing it back down to the ground would have sufficed. I don't know why they didn't do literally anything. It's just so weird they didn't do anything. Those are still his clone boys. I mean, I get that he's kind of an asshole now, but still, he always it's not canon anymore. Never mind.
I was about to say, you're probably thinking of something that's canon. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, because I was going to say the one thing that he would always say, at least in Legends, was the fact that he had respect for the clone troopers. They were bred for war. They knew what they were doing. They had fortitude. They had discipline, unlike the new stormtroopers. So he always had a respect for them until they were phased out. So he always showed the respect for that. So it just seemed weird to me that Vader just doesn't care anymore. I guess that's consistent with Disney canon, considering he's slashing down clone troopers as soon as he becomes Vader in the comics. So anyway, I sent an image in the Discord of the top guns and the bottom guns of the AT-ST being separate, but still trying to be connected. So there's just a splurged texture.
I'm so confused. Wait, were we talking about Vader literally 2 seconds ago?
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, I think the thing is also that this is implied to be like early Vader as well.
That makes it even worse though. If it's early Vader, he would have more of an attachment.
Because the thing is he meets Ahsoka in Rebels, and he's been hunting her down in the Rebels show. But the Rebels show takes place in like the start of the rebellion.
Yeah, it's like 18 years after the Clone Wars, I'm pretty sure, because this is before Luke is found, so I'd imagine, like, at that point, it's either a year or 2 years before, so, like, 17 to 18 years after, I'd say.
Yeah. So, it's still relatively early.
Nah, dude. After Luke was found, it only took 4 years for them to topple. That's real late.
Really?
Yeah.
That Luke is just a big boy. Okay.
Mega Chad.
Yeah, I see what you mean about the AT-AT. Wow.
Yeah, the guns are literally controlled separately from each other. It's so weird.
That looks weird, so.
So overall, what would you guys rate Clone Wars Season 7?
6 out of 10. 6 out of 10.
I'd give it a 7 out of 10 since it's Season 7.
I'd honestly give it a 5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a good...
You know what? I might have to agree. I might drop it down, because even that last arc, like, took it like a good 2.5 episodes for it to get real interesting.
That's a weird ATSD. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the issue is that it didn't really say that much. It was just,
I think we can all agree the season could have been a lot longer.
Yeah, it could have,
Yeah.
Hey,
12 episodes?
12
like,
episodes?
Disney Plus, unrestricted to commercial timing. Like, come on. You
Right.
couldn't... Like,
Every episode was like, 30 minutes, 26 minutes long?
It just felt
Yeah, it was
so
26.
archaic. Like, you're on a streaming platform where you're literally allowed to do anything else. Like, is Disney holding you by the brim going, no, 20-minute episodes, 12 per season. You all, this is all. It's like,
I'm so confused why it was even 12 episodes. Because another season was 22 episodes.
Yeah,
It's not
season 1 through 5 were 22 episodes.
I feel like they're taking notes from like Japan because like with anime, they typically like the most that season goes for, like with smaller anime.
Yeah,
like
but
13
that's
to 12 episodes.
Yeah, but that's
Bro,
for like non-flagship
anime,
anime. This is a
that's such a
flagship
weird comparison.
series.
Like, anime isn't even like, it's not even like a genre. You can't really, like, it's literally everything that's made in Japan that's a cartoon. That's such a weird thing to generalize. Like, it's literally half the shows I watch have like freaking 100 episode seasons, which is why I only watch one episode and forget about it. So it's like, it's weird. That's such a weird comparison to make to me.
Especially when they had like a lot of unfinished episodes they could have literally thrown in there.
I would have much rather, if they just wanted to ignore Order 66, the last arc, I would have much rather see like Boba and Cad Bane.
Oh yeah, I remember that. There's that unfinished arc.
Everyone was excited for Ventress, but honestly, like, I could care less about Ventress.
I think Ventress already had her arc, to be honest.
Yeah, she never really felt to me like a truly developed character. She felt like more of just a character being forced through the motions. I never really felt attached to her because it's just kind of like this shit happens to her, and here's how a robot would react to it. She was betrayed, so she is angry.
Grr.
It's like they don't really ever give her any true depth. It's just this is what is happening to her.
The thing is,
how she would react.
Is they mistaked her character being secretive with her character not like expressing her character. Like, I think that's the issue that I see.
Ventress is a weird one.
I thought she was cooler in the 2003 one. So
Wasn't
you don't
every
know.
character though?
I don't know. I kind of think they're on par. I mean, Ventress in 2003. I mean, she purely existed as a device to just kind of like duel Anakin, and just kind of show him freaking out.
Honestly, genuinely speaking, I think the 2007 Clone Wars series has way better characters. Because, I mean, the characters in 2003, they don't really have enough time to develop them at all.
Well, yeah, the goal really wasn't to develop the characters, but also just show the like the highlight.
I think 03, what it got better was like the action, because it was like way cooler and more dynamic, in the way it did.
It's just, ironically, the characters were portrayed more as the characters.
Characters were portrayed more accurately with their movie counterparts in 2003 by far.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, Anakin is legitimately a completely different person in Clone Wars, and you cannot do anything to convince me otherwise. I will always be ready to counter that.
He's like his own character in like Clone Wars, the 2008 series. In 2003, he's still the whining little brat that we know him about, But anyway,
I do like Anakin better in 2007, to be honest.
Yeah, but like you literally cannot watch like the prequels with conjunction of 2008 Clone Wars and like be immersed. It's literally impossible. It is such a jarring difference, especially like the final arc of him. Like, you can't go from killing a general for what needs to be done because he's an enemy of the Republic, no problem, to killing a general because he's an enemy of the Republic, but then having a freak out about it. Where's like what? It's just, Anakin is completely different. If you watch Clone Wars, it makes no sense for him ever falling.
Well, I know when I was like 8 and like watching the Clone Wars series when it was coming out, and like after seeing the prequels, I was like really confused. Like, hey, he didn't act like that in the movies. What the heck? I mean, I liked the change, but it was like really jarring, for me.
Yeah. It was so much more natural in the comics. Like, Clone Wars had those moments where he pretty much exclusively when it comes to his dark side stuff, he just kills someone without batting an eye. Now it's like, Anakin, don't do that. Which is fine. You can have those moments early in the war, but now it's late into the war and he's about to get twisted and tormented beyond his belief, and he's still doing that. There's been literally no change from episode 1 of Clone Wars to the finale of season 7 of Clone Wars. No change. He immediately becomes matured in Christophsis. He has his own Padawan. He pretty much knows what to do, and whenever he rebels, he never gets punished for it because it always ends up working right for him. Like, Luke would be pissed learning about his father's life. It's like, are you kidding me? He fucks off, does his own thing, and wins every time? When I did that, he kicked my ass. What's going on? Even as Vader, he has plot armor, apparently.
Metaphorically, literally. No. Okay, sorry.
The Clone Wars comic series handled this so much better. He went up as a troubled student, all the way up to Attack of the Clones. He was always a bratty little bitch. Most certainly. I know people don't like that, but the point of that is that it was the wars, the Clone Wars itself, is what hardens him. It's what makes him become the brother and the friend that Obi-Wan describes him as. They become inseparable during that. But that doesn't mean he becomes a perfect, hardened, perfect Jedi Knight soldier, vying for the Republic, perfect guy throughout the war. He still has those issues he once had before. They don't just disappear. He just knows how to better reconcile them, but they never truly go away, and then that's what Palpatine exploits and then makes them bubble to a complete surface. Remember these things you thought you forgot? They never truly went away. If you were to watch Clone Wars, it is like, hey, you're pretty cool. You're a pretty cool Jedi. But how's Padme doing? Oh, I'm gonna fucking cry and have a fit now. It's like, it doesn't work. It just does not work. The Clone Wars was the opportunity to show him mature, not show him be the perfect stone Luke-style Jedi. That is, God, okay, this goes into legends, but that was what Luke was supposed to be. Luke in the EU was what Anakin would have been if he didn't turn. But that went down the gutter, so you can't really bring that analogy, but going back, it's inconsistent in the Clone Wars. He does not fit with his movie counterpart, and they make no attempts to reconcile it. Any thoughts on that?
No, I think you summed up pretty well.
I have some comments, that's it.
Cool.
I was just eating some lasagna.
Lasagna.
Oh yeah, this
Speaking-
one back is actually pretty good.
Speaking of which, since we finished talking about season 7, I think I'm gonna go and grab some supper with my bro. It was
Alright.
great doing it with you guys.
Mhm.
It was good having you on here.
No problem, anytime. It was great. Call me back for the sequel, okay?
Yeah.
We got a view count of above 8.
Alright, big boy, I will literally see you in like tomorrow.
Sweet. Okay.
I'll see you tomorrow too, big boy.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Wink.
Ooh, woo, nuzzle, wuzzle.
Oh no! Now I have to leave. Bye.
Alright, go so I don't forget what I'm thinking. Leave this place.
I will.
Alright.
Fucking
But-
pussy.
Anyway, yeah, what I think of is, I'm pretty sure everybody knows this, but fucking Luke and Anakin are basically mirrors of each other. Like,
Mhm.
literally,
In continuity.
yes, in Legends. I'm talking about Legends here because I don't fucking care about canon anymore. I want to talk about Legends for a little bit, right? But the thing is that fucking, like, Anakin is just, don't kick at me, but that Anakin is what he should have been in the fucking in the Clone Wars. Is he should have at the beginning been more of like Luke when he starts off, right? Naive, a bit whiny, fucking kind of a little bit annoying at times, but you know, open to learning, right? Because I mean, honestly speaking, Anakin had a way better like young adult life than fucking Luke, who literally had his parents burned alive and then had to literally just join the rebellion because everybody forced him into it. You know.
You know what? I don't think Anakin's life is that much better. I'm gonna be
Well,
honest.
I mean, he was a slave.
The
Yes.
only attachment he had outside of the Order died in his arms, leading him brutally murdering an entire Tusken camp. Once
Actually,
again, leaving him to then regret it entirely, then leading to every friendship that he could make, Legend continuity speaking, outside of very rarely having any true friends because he's kind of
well,
such
I'm talking about
weirdo.
like, well, I'm talking about really early. I'm talking about like, I'm like in order timelining. Like
Up to about
Anakin's
19?
life was definitely worse. Like overall, I'm talking about like his early life, like very early life,
Wait,
like
hold up.
childhood.
Anakin's life or Luke's life?
Anakin's early life, from what we see in the movies and in the Clone Wars a little bit. Actually, I'm pretty sure in the Clone Wars he's already like a fully grown adult, and it's like several years into the Clone Wars, isn't it?
What, in the movies? Episode
No.
2 is
In the Clone Wars TV show.
Clone Wars starts 2 months after Geonosis.
All right, yeah, so it's still relatively early.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like his early life is a bit better than Luke's, to be honest.
Yeah.
Isn't Luke also younger whenever he gets thrown into a life of warfare?
Actually, I think they are literally the same age.
Literally,
So
Yeah.
say, Luke,
the same
Anakin's
age.
19 in Attack of the Clones, and I think, Luke is also I think he's also 19 in Episode 4.
All right, yeah. So
Yeah, these
I
same
mean-
exact age.
yeah, so I mean, relatively speaking, at the same time, Anakin has it a little bit better. Besides the fact that he's literally being thrown into a fucking war zone.
Nah, I'd say
Wait.
Luke has it better.
Really, his
Yeah.
parents just died, and then his mentor dies, and then he's part of a rebellion that, at that time,
Yeah,
has
that also
no
happens
chance
in the
of
same
winning.
year for Anakin.
Huh?
The only reason, okay, think of this. Anakin's only reason when he was a really small boy of even being in the Jedi Order is because the guy he thought who was going to train him died. And that
Oh
is
yeah,
it. By the
I
time of
always forget about
19,
Qui-Gon,
both
I'm not gonna
characters
lie.
lose their mothers at the same time.
they lose them at the same time. Really?
They're both 19 when it happens, Lewis.
What? Doesn't it happen in the second movie?
Anakin is 19 in the second movie.
Oh fuck, you're right. What?
The only
My
difference is that
timeline is
Anakin
off, man.
grew up a total recluse. Everyone didn't really like him because he was naturally better than everyone with the Force, and different. He wasn't brought in from the temple. He had like a weirder personality, so no one really liked him. He ended up running away a lot of the times, doing underground pod racing in Coruscant and just repairing parts for money.
Hell yeah. Now
Like,
this is pod racing.
Anakin had it worse. Frickin' Luke actually had friends.
Yeah, I actually, now that you're talking about it, yeah, I guess so. They both had it kind of shit, but at least Luke had some friends. I mean, granted, they probably aren't the most desirable friends, even though they're all really
Okay,
charismatic.
When was the last time that Anakin was allowed to go down to the Tashi station to get some power converters?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, his mom wouldn't have let him done that.
Exactly, because she's
aunt,
dead. She
whatever.
can't allow anything. Duh.
What a dumbo. This is why he went to go smoke weed with old man Ben. Right. But anyway, ignoring
Watch
that.
with your son someday.
Hell yeah. But ignoring that, I think the thing is that he should have, in the Clone Wars, he should have slowly progressed, right? And he should have became more mature, but unlike Luke, when he became more mature, right, even though he was still naive, right, because it was only like 4 years, right, whenever he beat Vader, like when he joined the rebellion, and he Vader killed the Emperor, now quotation marks. But the thing is we should have seen the opposite of what's happening to Luke, where Luke became more of a heroic figure and more stoic, even though he was still, he still had his own problems, because he was like, am I good enough to beat Vader and to destroy the Empire, because everybody's counting on me, But, Anakin, since he's basically a fucking prodigy, he'd become more arrogant, right? And people would be like, bro, you need to, like, fucking chill. Like, Obi-Wan, instead of being like, oh, okay, whenever fucking Anakin literally murders somebody, right? Even though it's the Jedi way not to kill people, he should have been like, bro, Anakin, what the fuck, man? He was, like, surrendering or some shit. Like, I understand if he's trying to kill you, right? Because even fucking Obi-Wan, if somebody's trying to kill him, he'd probably kill them if he really had no choice, like he did Grievous, right? But, like, the thing is that fucking Anakin just straight up murdered people. Like, they'd be surrendering, and he'd be like, nope, sorry, man.
Are we talking Clone Wars?
Yeah, we're talking about Clone Wars.
I don't really think there's a time where he kills surrendered people.
Yeah.
I mostly think that it's mostly only, like, just he kind of goes extreme. Like, some guy was holding a bomb, instead of just, like,
Don't you remember that one time where he, like, indirectly fucking murdered somebody, where the guy's like, you wouldn't kill surrendering man, you're a Jedi, and he's like, oh yeah, I wouldn't, but he will, and he fucking lets Rex shoot him. He's just like, oh, well, I guess that doesn't count as murder.
I don't really remember that at all. Can you?
Yeah, that happened.
Papa? Okay,
Where
what
is
is your
it?
name first off?
His name's Ryan.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can you remember this, Ryan?
Which part?
Do you remember the time when there was a guy, like, a separatist guy, who's like,
Oh yeah, the
saying,
when they take Anakin as a slave and take Ahsoka and Rex also as slaves.
yeah, he was like, you wouldn't kill an unarmed man because you're a
right.
Jedi, and
They
then
were innocent though. The whole thing is that they were slavers, and his arc was like,
yeah, but it doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because the Jedi way is not to kill people without weapons, is to take them for fair trial, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, even fucking Mace Windu, who sees a Sith Lord, is just like,
example, because that was the Clone Wars version of him, like, struggling with slavery in the galaxy.
Yeah.
yeah, but my point is that Obi-Wan has sort of just been like, oh, casual Anakin, just killing
It
people.
wasn't like that. Him and Ahsoka were constantly talking about how worried they were. They tried to get him off the assignment.
Wait,
Yeah, but they never actually be like, "Yo, Anakin,
No,
what the
they-
fuck?"
wasn't it
They
Rex
did.
that
They
killed him though?
apprehended. Like
Wait,
Obi-Wan
what?
yelled at him.
Right?
Wasn't it Rex that killed the slaver?
Yeah, fucking
Yeah, I
Anakin literally basically told him, he nudge, winked, told him to kill him. He was like, "Oh, I wouldn't kill you, but he could," and then fucking Rex shot him.
Yeah, I think Rex is more at fault right now, to be honest. Because Obi-Wan did yell at him, as I remember. Didn't he like threaten to like take his lightsaber or something?
I don't.
Because he started like waving it around and talking about like, oh, the weapon is supposed to be used, yada yada yada. You know, you're too personal with this, and blah 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 blah. And Ahsoka's like, he's not right. He's like, yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think. I don't. Maybe this is just like a personal thing, like a personal like thing to me. But I think that fucking Obi-Wan just isn't harsh enough on him for doing this shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, was this during Phase 2 or Phase 1 clones?
I think this was Phase 2.
Ah, why is that happening this late into the war?
No,
He's
I
like,
think it was Phase 1.
Was it? I don't know. I don't remember because Rex wasn't wearing a helmet, so I only remember
like
that.
his slavery issues should have been reconciled pre-war, because that's how it's done in the old EU. They were mostly like before the Clone Wars happened. Anakin was younger. They went on more like kind of diplomatic turn hot missions that involved slavers, and that's like how he learned to get over them. Honestly, it was a bit of an overdone story. There were like 5 books on it. It was kind of ridiculous, but point is, like, they all knew not to do that during the Clone Wars because that just seems a bit late. It's just weird.
Here, I could probably find the episodes real quick and see if they're Phase 1 or Phase 2.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I think we really got this Clone Wars shit pretty down. Covered pretty well.
Yeah. I don't know how
How long
long we've been at this.
Didn't we start at like 6? It's like about 9.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Slaver episodes.
Mm-hmm. What are you even streaming to?
Huh?
What are you even streaming to?
Oh, YouTube.
Oh, it's weird.
It happened in Season 4. Looks like episode 12.
Season 4, episode 12? Can you find the clip? Okay, are they Phase 2 then? I feel like... I want to remember season 4
think so on that.
I'm
stories.
skipping ahead to see if I can't get a look at a clone in the background.
Yeah, because I think you're already gone when I said this, but I was talking about how like the Legends novels had enough sense to put his slavery.
Okay, they're
arc
Phase 2.
was happening. Yeah, Phase 2. Ah, God,
Yeah.
it's so weird. Why so late in the war?
I think this might be the scene where he kills him.
Where are they?
Master.
My queen is going to bring back the royal
Is it the Zagaran? Zagaran? Or
Yeah,
the
Zygerian.
Zygerian.
Zygerian?
Yeah, Zygerian.
Powerful again. The Jedi will not stop us this time. We'll see about that.
Yeah, they don't kill him in that episode. It might be another one.
Oh wait, wasn't it? I think it was during the episode they discovered like bombs were planted in a bunch of buildings.
Okay, phone.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I forgot that Obi-Wan got kidnapped in that episode.
He did, really.
Yeah, they tried breaking him and turning him into just another slave that they could use. Like turning a Jedi into a slave, and then their reputation would go through the roof.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't find where they kill that one dude where Anakin's like, I won't, but he can.
Yes, it had to happen. So we all remember it.
Yeah, I remember. It's just I don't know which of these 3 episodes it was, and I could just be like skipping right past it on accident.
Hey, Lewis, you want to stop breathing into your mic, you amateur?
Shut up, you amateur!
Fuck you up, mate. Bring you up sideways. How about that?
Fuck me, Westways.
West Philadelphia?
Born and raised.
Bad playground, all my days.
Alright. So are you guys done trying to find that scene? Are you still trying?
I think
I found
personally,
the episode. I just
Say it again?
I found the episode. I just gotta wait for it to get to that point.
have you tried the keywords Rex kills slaver?
I mean, I could look that up on YouTube.
Okay.
Damn, Anakin just murked some dudes.
A Jedi won't kill an unarmed man.
Okay, he was talking to Obi-Wan, saying a Jedi won't kill an unarmed man, and then Rex just comes out of nowhere and throws a spear at him.
Did he at least give him a nod, or is that just
No,
like,
it was just Rex just... Let me rewind it a little bit.
like there is nothing there? Then. Is this like?
Guns. Come now, Master Kenobi. I know a Jedi won't kill an unarmed man.
Okay, there's not a nudge, but Obi-Wan does look at Rex, and that's it.
Okay, but was he just like being a dick before, like aggressive or anything?
No, I think he was just being an arrogant prick.
Send me it?
Interesting.
Send it to the Discord? Because maybe I remembered it a bit wrong. I don't know.
Well, it's not a YouTube link. I legit went to Disney Plus and found it.
Oh, alright.
If you want to find it, season 4, episode 13.
Alright, let's just...
And it's about 18 minutes and 30 seconds in.
$18 30 in. What episode was it? You said,
Season 4, episode 13.
shit.
Escape from Caddo, whatever they call it.
Sudoku? Escape from Cadavo. Okay, timestamp one more time.
18 minutes and 30 seconds.
18 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, it's, I'm going on my website.
Alright. Huh. Oh, yeah. You're right. He just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's just out in the corner. Obi-Wan looks at him and he's just
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, it was Rex and him that Okay, basically, yeah, he was the slave master. He was wasn't he like torturing people?
Yeah, he was
He's the
torturing
Prime
him.
Minister.
Yeah, so he's kind of a dick in general. You know, I'd imagine Rex wouldn't have a problem killing him.
I mean, you're
It's
still
just-
technically killing an unarmed man, but I mean,
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty justified. He is literally the slave master of like the big freaking slave labor camp. So
but remember, you can't have witnesses if everyone's dead.
hey, man, he's just following orders.
Yeah, but Coconut, I think the thing here is that you're using your own like morals in here. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's
Telling you the Republic themselves, who attempted to ban slavery, wouldn't want this. They wouldn't be on the other side morally.
because it's not the Republic, it's the Jedi Order.
The Jedi Order is working as an extension of the Republic to lead their army. The
Yeah.
army belongs to the Republic, not the Jedi. They're working for the
The
Republic.
Jedi Order still has their ideals, and they still enforce their ideals.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it was also Rex who has done it too. I
don't
mean,
know.
once again, Anakin also isn't involved in this.
Is he not? Is he not there?
No, he's not in the scene at all. It's just
yeah,
Obi-Wan.
Anakin's not in that scene. He's in another room taking control of the air defenses.
Yeah, the big bad slaver guy tempts Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan hesitates, and then Rex throws a spear in his chest.
Yeah, then my memory's just scuffed then.
Mhm.
I could have sworn
I coulda-
fucking Anakin was there.
I mean, I could have also sworn like someone telling I may not be able to, but he can, and then something happened. Like I swear I remember that scene is like someone telling like Rex like I can't kill you, but he can.
Like, that is just such a
Oh,
generic thing that
I
you
know
imagine.
it now.
Remember it being like at the top of like that freaking like Blade Runner looking like office, that big open area with like just a desk. I remember him being up there and like, was that what it was, or am I remember it falsely?
There is a scene where Anakin does kill a guy holding a detonator.
Nah, that's different though.
Yeah, that is
That's like the kind of sort of shit that Clone Wars always does. Is like Anakin killed a guy, but he did have a reason.
Yeah.
Is he tempting to the dark side? Did the same thing. with
Holy
Jesus
shit!
Christ.
But I just looked at it, and fucking Rex threw it through him, and then through the back of his chair. Holy shit!
Oh,
How does that even work? That spear.
You
That
think
shouldn't
he's
even be
Zabrak with
possible.
that kind of force.
Rex is secretly a Force user.
Secretly
That's how
There's
he
no
survived so long in the Clone Wars.
force sensitive, and they cloned a bunch of force users.
It's the only reason he survived so long.
Yeah. he's
Oh,
a
the
force
Wolfpack
user.
shows up.
Oh
as
god, I forgot to mention that, dude. Like, just Filoni's hard on for his characters knows no bound. Adding him into the Battle of Endor, like, bro, how does he survive that long? He has accelerated growth. He's like 20 by the time of 4 years. Like every 4 years, he ages 20 years. Like what? How the hell did he survive? What are you doing, Filoni?
I mean, he's not the only clone that's lived that long. Like,
The Battle of Endor, really?
oh wait, yeah, you're talking about that one, yeah.
Yeah. Rex was in the Battle of Endor. Fun fact for you.
Yeah, I remember them talking about that.
God, that is so stupid. Just such a disregard.
Also, not talking about Clone Wars, but something I find odd about the clones in Clone Wars. Like, I know the obvious answer to why, but like why didn't they make the clones like of an alien species? Because know, like
it would make
honestly,
sense to make them anything else.
like the thing is just there are so many species that are just so much more powerful than humans in their
Literally
base form.
Zabrak would have been a better choice. Literally any Zabrak.
Well, they
Like,
did try
obviously
to.
the reason why is because, well, the actor was human, like in the original, like in the
Well,
prequel.
it's a cool backstory. Well, have you ever completed the Bounty Hunter game?
No.
They
I
pretty
haven't
much explain it why. The Dark Jedi that you essentially hunt down in that game was a test from Dooku to see if you truly like had the skills and was worthy enough to be like show all the problem solving skills that he wants in like their clone army and whatnot. So like it's super cool. The whole reason he even trained out that acolyte and whatnot was to be hunted by Jango and whatnot. And once he kills him and then brings the lightsabers to him as the evidence, as the proof. Sometime later he goes back to him and he's like, all right, you should totally be the clone template. But something cool is that those are the same lightsabers that are given to Asajj Ventress in 2003, which is a super neat tie-in. Just so cool. Yeah. He reuses them. They're repurposed. That's so cool.
Yeah, it definitely, if you really had to make him human, right, they definitely picked the right person.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's a poor choice. It's just an interesting choice.
Well, they were gonna do another species, but the species was too violent, so they chose to do that's when they decided to try to find a template, because they were gonna do this extinct species, but also modify them, but they were just too violent and they couldn't control them.
To be honest, do you know what would have been a cool species? Or what would have been a cool thing, even though it makes no sense?
What?
It's the cool idea. Fucking a army genetically copied from Grievous, even though Grievous isn't on the clone side.
Oh, that was one of the plans that Grievous had. He was had scientists working to find a way to make his frame of body mass manufacturable and in armor form. So he had a bunch of Grievous robots and a bunch of people wearing Grievous inspired armor. You actually kind of see that. For some reason you see it in the 2003 volume 2, which is really weird. Doesn't really make much sense to be there. But they tried to tie it in, didn't really work with the blue guys or weapon testing on them and whatnot. Techno Union was weapon testing on the blue guys that became all fat and whatnot. You see the schematics for Grievous's gear and whatnot. They tried to tie it in, but it was kind of really loose and kind of why is that there if they're not even working on that? The point is, it happened, it existed, it almost became a thing.
Also, why does Star Wars... I just realized Star Wars Rebels has space wolves.
They also have space whales. That's all Thrawn does. Uses the Force to call out space whales, and they just overwhelm a Star Destroyer.
Nice, of course they do.
Well, even in the Clone Wars, there's space whales, because remember the Malevolence, was it called? The giant ship? And they had to fly through the, I forget what it was called, but it was a giant, smuggler's run thing. And, they were flying through it, and there's these giant space whales in it.
Remember them in Clone Wars, but it wouldn't really surprise me. There's a bunch of space-dwelling creatures in
it. It was in the first, it was the first 2 episodes of the Clone Wars, season 1, episode 2.
Oh, yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah.
I honestly block a lot of season 1 out of my memory.
Malevolence was in season 1.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact because I had season 1 on disc.
Ooh.
Oh, something really inconsistent from the Legends continuity is the whole thing about hyperspace madness.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It just seems weird that they would want to add that into the continuity, but still have pilots sit in the pilot chair while flying.
Yeah, that always confused me when I learned about hyperspace madness. You have all these characters staring into hyperspace when they're going to war, and none of them go mad.
Right? It's why would you add that in? That just does nothing.
What exactly is hyperspace madness? Is it just if you stare into hyperspace too long, you just go mad?
Pretty much, yeah. It would drive you insane. But it's also, there was another comic that delved even deeper into that. Whereas there was this special thing. It kind of further explained hyperspace being a pocket dimension that it shortens time and space itself. And then there are beings that would actually live in that dimension. One of them is this screaming, flying poltergeist witch thing And, like, every time you would see that, you would instantly just go mad without a doubt, and you could even, like, get stranded in it. And there's, like, even some vessels that would, like, an anomaly would happen where they would get stranded, like, forward or back in time. That's actually the plot of one of the freaking, I think it was post Second Galactic Civil War. There's a book set in the Old Republic, Lost Tribe of the Sith. It's 4 short stories about a single tribe of the Sith that gets stranded on a planet and how their society develops. And then there's a later duology set after the Second Galactic Civil War, after Jason Solo becomes Darth Caedus, he dies, Kashyyyk burns, that kind of stuff, where this same Sith tribe, after they actually reconnected with space, and they went into hyperspace, they ended up jumping forwards in time to this moment, meeting the modernized, like, Jedi Order, and they have to be dealt with.
Huh.
Which is super cool. I think it was Cross Current was one of the book names, and I don't remember the other one.
Yeah, not to bring up 40K again, but I'm gonna bring up 40K again.
Handle travels so much better in 40K.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Faster than light travel in 40K is really fucking cool. But yeah, something similar happens in 40K to Hyperspace Madness, since you have to travel through, like, the fucking warp, which is, to put it very, very, very simply, is a mirror dimension where that's basically hell, for the people watching, right? And since hell, basically, I'm just going to refer to it as hell for simplicity's sake, it could drive the average man fucking mad. They actually need to seal the ship and have it go into, like, sort of a lockdown state, right? So that, like, the psychic energy can't get into the ship and drive people insane. But sometimes there's breaches in the that happen on the ships, where then the ships get filled with demons and people go mad and shit. And there's also the possibility of the ship getting stuck in hell, also known as the warp, because their fucking drives fail, and then everything basically goes fucking apeshit. And there's also one issue with warp travel, unlike with hyperspace in Star Wars. In 40K, the fact that time doesn't flow the same in the warp means that they could go somewhere and then exit a day later, or they can end up several years later. And it's kind of a fucking issue when you're fighting a galactic scale war.
Yeah, that's rough.
It is really rough.
Imagine going to send supplies to a currently occupied planet, but then when you get there, you get totally bombarded by enemy anti-air weapons because they captured it.
Oh yeah, that happens. That happens a lot.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah, there are also some fucking entire fleets of ships that just disappear, never to be seen again. And then fucking there's also fleets of ships that are sent out and they haven't been seen for like 80 to 100 years, and then all of a sudden they show up ready for battle. Like, what the fuck? Where's the fucking war? Where the fuck did this shit go?
15 years too late.
Wait, is that from the squad mod?
Yeah, those are the new models they're putting out for the droids.
Those are fucking hot!
Right.
Hot,
I
boy!
was sure that with this update, they're actually going to add the new iron sights for the DCs. Anyway, though, but like a way to further explain why everyone doesn't get hyperspace madness, but still keep it in the canon, would be like those like weird witch lady people like have to be present. It's only if you run into those guys. It's such a simple explanation. It was never ever addressed.
Huh.
Like, these guys exist. You say hyperspace madness exists, but it clearly can't because everyone still sits in the cockpits and there's like no shutter system like to prevent that, with it being apparently common knowledge. So why don't you just combine the two and say that you can only get hyperspace madness when those creatures are there because they feed off of the madness or something, like literally anything.
So, what does the madness actually do? Does it do anything, or do they just go insane?
I don't remember the exact details.
I think actual ghosts show up in the ship and start killing everyone. I don't know if they like see ghosts or if the ghosts are real.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
I
cool,
think it would be pretty cool if they left it ambiguous whether or not the ghosts are real or not.
Yeah.
They actually just end up killing themselves. Like maybe like every time they find like a derelict ship, it's always blunt force trauma against the hull of the ship, so it's left ambiguous. So it's like, did they kill themselves out of madness, or like there's this consistency of either like a few remain survivors, or like drawings or notes of scrabbles of these ghosts or something.
It's like those horror movies or games you would see where people have like writings on the walls and shit.
Yeah, like hyperspace madness exists, but it doesn't happen often enough to warrant like any procedures. But every time it does happen, there's a consistency. You know, like.
Yeah.
Something like that would have been a fantastic way to explain it and introduce new stories of an entirely new dimension.
Yeah, because the thing is after 40K, just people going mad is kind of boring now. Because in 40K, whenever like this shit happens, there's like a breach in the ship and somebody goes fucking mad. Considering that the human species and the other species in the universe are directly connected to the warp, right? That means that people who go mad are potential gateways for demons to come and be summoned.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so literally whenever there's like a breach
and shit. Oh,
so whenever there's a breach and shit, it literally goes into doom mode. Demonic presence detected. And everybody's like, oh fuck. And it just oh fuck. Why do I hear boss music?
When a demon hears boss music. Fuck.
But yeah, it's pretty fucking cool. Like, I know there's a few stories that go on it. There's also a few wacky stories that go on it. Like, there's also that one story about the orcs that get stuck in the warp. That they literally go into the warp to go fight a bunch of demons, because orcs are fucking insane. And they basically fight an eternal war in the warp. And that shit's pretty funny.
So is there anything, like, can the demons, like, activate this warp and, like, go through it themselves to invade, or do...
yeah, there are points, like, in the universe.
Are there, like, anomalies and shit?
Yeah, there's, like, points in the universe where they could, every once in a while, they can open a tear between the material and the immaterial world.
Okay.
And basically invade. Like, the Eye of Terror is the most well-known one, where humanity literally has entire armadas around it and fortress worlds all around it that are literally just worlds designed to be forts, right? And basically, like, every couple hundred years, there's this thing called the Black Crusade. There's been, like, 13, I think, where this guy named Abaddon the Despoiler comes through, and he's like, yo, alright, humanity, this time I'll get you. And everybody makes fun of him, because even though he's supposed to be the harbinger of destruction, during 13 Black Crusades, he's basically destroyed one fucking planet. And that planet was Cadia, which is the most well-known planet. And there was this saying that the planet fell before the guard did, because literally they had to crack the entire planet because resistance on the planet from humanity was too fucking fierce. Because they'd fight literally to the last man. Because, I mean, they genuinely are the last and first line of defense between, like, humanity and eternal doom, basically. So, it's pretty fucking baller. There's also other points in the universe where there's these fucking tears between the two dimensions. But also there's the Necrons, who have these towers, and these towers were on Cadia, where these towers are actually able to close these tears, right? But the Necrons are basically not dead, they're literally asleep, because they're based off of fucking mummies, Egyptian mummies, and they have tomb worlds where they basically sleep and don't really do jack shit until somebody wakes them up. And also, not a lot of them are actually intelligent, because when they gave up their souls, very few of them actually retain their intelligence. But talking about the Necron is a completely fucking different thing, and this is supposed to be about Star Wars. But
Yeah,
I'm just gonna finish.
Actually, finish it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna finish it real quick because I'm almost done. But yeah, that's also why they basically destroyed Cadia, because a Necron boy, he's talking to a guy from the Mechanicus, which is a sub-faction in humanity. Too much to explain, don't worry about it. And basically he was about to teach him how to actually use the towers in return for something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't remember what it was, and it doesn't really matter. But basically they just crashed an entire battle station into it. Like, there's this thing called the Blackstone Fortress, and they basically rammed a bunch of ships into it and threw it into the planet. And then, it also fought the fucking Imperial Fist Phalanx battle station, which is really cool.
Damn.
Also, fun fact for anybody who's interested in this, yeah, the Fall of Cadia is also in the Battlefleet Gothic 2 game. It's like the tutorial mission, and it's really cool. Alright, back to Star Wars.
Before we get to Star Wars, though, I had a
Okay.
comment about, I was thinking about a universe in which space travel is shortened by entering higher or lower dimensions, such as 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was concepting how cool that would be. But then I thought, okay, if you were a 2-dimension, if you were a 3-dimension, okay, we're in the 3rd dimension. Okay, if we were a 3-dimensional being, we go to travel through the 2nd dimension. We open a 3D tear to enter a 2D area. We would literally flatten and crush ourselves to the point of literal eternity.
That's fucking scary.
But so the next thing is, if we are 3-dimensional beings, can't go 2-dimension, but maybe 2-dimension can go to 3-dimension. So they open their 2-dimensional tear in which they can, through that tear, perceive the 3rd dimension and then experience it in that dimension. But technically speaking, pure 2D things can't exist. So wouldn't they literally tear themselves apart? And so if us, a 3rd-dimensional being, were to travel through a 5th-dimensional area, would everything just fall apart? Because everything we know is tightly compact in 3 dimensions, but once we enter that 4th, we become 4th-dimensional beings, and wouldn't everything fall apart because there's just open spaces now that just are not filled, because we literally do not have that dimension to fill. So once we enter the 4th dimension, do we just fall apart?
You're asking the wrong person.
That's what I got from your Warhammer talk. That's just what I started thinking about.
Nice. I'll get back to you once I talk to Stephen Hawking's.
Yeah, let me just get him on speed dial real quick. Yo, Jabibis, you think you can put him on for a quick second on a podcast?
Yeah, honestly, I don't really think he's doing much these days. I think he can take a minute.
Yeah.
But also, I think going from a 2-dimension to a 2nd dimension to the 3rd dimension for space, faster than light travel, would be counterintuitive, because you're just increasing the distance, right? But I think going from 3rd dimension to 2nd dimension might actually, if it was possible, it could actually work, because then you could find a way to fold the 2 points that you want to go to together, and then end up at the 2nd point.
Well, in our 3rd dimension, you can still, technically speaking, fold 2 points by manipulating gravity. For instance, with the black hole, the reason it rips you apart is because the fabric of space itself is longer and shorter at the 2 different areas. Meaning, if we have something that's strong enough to withstand that power of gravity, you'd be able to skip through that black hole and come out another side at a different time than you would if you were to go around it. And avoid
at a different time. I mean, literally a
different time.
Literal time travel.
Yep. Okay, this is going to be really hard for me to explain because I don't really remember it fully, but bear with me. Okay, if someone is entering... Oh, God, I don't even fully remember it because it's so confusing to me. Okay, I'm just going to try it. Okay, I'm just going to lay it down. Someone's entering a black hole and sending an electronic signal to you every second. As soon as you leave the space station, you're on your way, you'd be getting it at the same time every second. Let's just say there's no delay. But the closer you get to the warping gravity, the longer it would have to take because time itself has now warped completely. For instance, let's say gravity is collapsing in on itself, time is moving at a faster rate for you. The person in that black hole, from that perception, will be getting the ticks faster and faster and faster the closer he gets to the black hole. But the person on the space station will appear to be getting it slower and slower and slower and slower, even though they're both sending at the same exact time. And they're both technically receiving it at the same time in a flat plane of time.
So is this more of a perception of time type of thing?
It
or
is.
this
This is a real
literal
thing that
time?
happens. I think I may have the faster and slower parts of gravity swapped, but point is, the concept stays the same, and it's a real thing that happens. It is like the same concept of like being inside of a moving train and nothing's like moving at the speed of that train. Shooting a gun in that train will like go at the velocity of that gun. You know, like shooting it plus the velocity of the train going forward. If you're on top of the train and you shot it, it would hit a sign that's stationary at the speed of that train, yada yada, that stuff.
Yeah.
The
But-
same exact concept.
So doesn't that mean that gravity and time are directly connected?
Yes. Yes.
So,
It's just
but
like
then
if
that
you go
also
into the International Space Station, you actually, if you were to have two watches and start them at the exact same time, one on Earth and then the other going to space to the space station, when the one that was on the space station comes back, it'll be on a completely different time.
Oh yeah,
But they're
I
both
remember hearing
literally
about
moving at the same exact times. It's because of the gravity warping it itself, warping time. Like, you will literally age, I think, slower in space than you will on Earth.
Yeah.
fucking time is scary as fuck, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Time is absolutely fucking terrifying. So
Dying
it's not
at the same time while being older than your twin. Imagine how much of a mind fuck that is.
I think two twins actually did that.
Did they really? Did they test it? Really?
Yeah, I think one twin stayed here and the other one went to space. I think that's how they also did the watch. I think that was done at the same exact time.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
time. Or don't you mean at different times? I fucking hate myself, I'm sorry.
It's so cool, dude. I recommend reading that Stephen Hawking book I got, because that's where I started to learn about that. Not A Brief History of Time, but A Briefer History of Time. They're two different books. Get briefer.
Alright, so does that mean that means that it's technically not true, it wouldn't be true like time travel. It would just be that time would be accelerated.
Kind of.
Kind of.
It's super confusing.
Wait, so
Ugh, there
well,
is
I'm
a form of time travel.
well, okay, what I'm imagining is it's not exactly like if you're in like the black hole that things would literally be faster. Like it'd be like you speeding up a tape faster, but more like the acceleration of how like fucking atoms and shit, how
See,
they
it's
decay
strange.
accelerates.
It is insanely strange because everything in that bubble of warped gravity like is accelerating, but being inside the bubble, like your perception is literally no different to anyone else's outside of the bubble. Everything operates at normal time according to you, but it is operating at a faster speed compared to everything else around it. So you go in that bubble, you come out, you're super old, your friend isn't, yet it was the same amount of time, yet at different times.
This maneuver is gonna cost us 13 years.
It was the whole, have you... That one movie where, like, Earth is, like, dying, and
Interstellar.
everyone's like, you just gotta be a farmer. Yeah, it was the concept of, they went to the planet, every 2 minutes on that planet is, like, 2 hours up in space.
It's
and, like,
because
20
the
hours on
gravity
Earth.
from the black
Yes.
hole.
So they spent, like,
Wait, that's not
10 minutes.
Interstellar.
It is Interstellar.
No, it is. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
they go to the
Okay.
planet,
Why you say
they
that
spend
movie?
like 12 minutes on it, overdo than what they were originally doing. They go back to space, and their friend was waiting there for like 20 years or something. And they're like, "Oh, I thought you died," and they're like, "It's only been 20 minutes for us, or whatever."
Yeah, they were only gone for like what 3-4 hours, and then for the other guy it was 20 years.
I think it was below half an hour. Because remember, they went to the planet. They were looking for the guy's beacon because they imagined they may have discovered life because they thought they read mountains, but in reality, it was a planet that was constantly in a tidal wave state. So they're able to step down on like feet-high water, and then they saw the oncoming tidal wave coming towards them, so they had to make it to the ship. One guy died, yada, yada, yada. They wasted time because the girl went to the signal so she can get whatever evidence she could of what actually went down, because she's kind of a little bit loony. And then by the time they get back, they wasted time trying to save someone. It didn't really work out. And
I really need to rewatch that movie. I've never watched the whole movie.
It's so cool. I really want to get Emily to watch it with me.
Hell yeah.
It's fascinating. And oh my god, dude, the soundtrack. I know everybody busts their balls over the soundtrack, but it's just, mwah. I'm just such a sucker for organs. If you use organs for anything, church-style organs, I melt. It's just,
The main theme is stuck in my head. Like, I can hear it right now.
The best thing Rebels ever did was give Thrawn a theme with organs.
Nice.
Actually, I don't even know if Rebels did. I was listening to a suite, and apparently someone said it was like inspired by Rebels or something. So,
Oof.
I don't know if they actually did it, but I'd like to imagine they did.
Again, I would like to mention, those are some purdy blasters.
Right? They're so good looking, dude.
Now, Coconut, it's time for us to go to the Squad Star Wars Discord and petition to have the fully automatic droid sniper rifle.
Oh, yes. I literally cannot enjoy the game until you do this.
Like, honestly, if you don't do this, it won't be fucking lore accurate, okay?
It's not lore accurate.
I mean, it took them a long time to add the other clone rifle.
The long one?
Yeah,
They
the
still
long
haven't
one.
actually, as far as I know, they still haven't actually imported the iron sights for it quite yet.
Yeah, it's just a blank.
It's literally completely completed and textured. They just haven't done it.
Is the server Galactic Contention?
Yeah.
Yeah, they renamed it.
Alright. Yeah, because didn't they have
Check
some
the updates.
issues?
We're looking at my beta right now, and Jar Jar Binks.
Did they have some issues with the naming, and that's why they changed it, or did
No, they
they?
changed the name because they
Wasn't
they-
Star Wars-y
they
enough?
gave it to more people so that way they could be updated more frequently. Like they were changing it to where more people had control of it and could add more stuff.
Yeah, that's right. I had to actually reinstall a mod because it's a completely new mod now, but the
Yeah.
old one is still on the page for some reason, even though it's not being used in any servers. Like, they should probably just delete it off the workshop.
Yeah, I want to play Coruscant. Coruscant looks fucking cool.
is
Unfortunately,
pretty cool.
it's purely an air map,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks because I remember really early on they showed like this really cool like area where they were actually on like a building, like on a sideline.
I think
Oh,
there is a small ground
There is
spot,
buildings.
but you rarely get to fight on it because the droids rarely make it to the first ship
Mm-hmm.
because the clones just have such a
still
good
think
start.
Kashyyyk is my favorite map right now. Have you played Kashyyyk yet?
Yeah, I have.
I love it.
I like the Geonosian, the first one, like Point Rain.
Yeah,
I
I
like that
haven't
one.
played it. I've only checked it out in an empty server. Haven't played it. I've played like Kashyyyk like 5 times and Coruscant once, and the new like special like planet that they made up once as well.
They made a planet.
Yeah, it's just kind of like Scarif style, jungly, but not like really dense, kind of tropical. It's cool.
Oh, I think I actually seen it. I just thought it was Kashyyyk.
It's, from what I remember, it was balanced really well. Like, it was a really good map. It had like nice terrain to shoot from. It was good.
I'm just really hoping that they have like good like mappers to balance it, because it doesn't really matter if the maps look nice.
Well, no, that's
balanced.
pretty well.
Are all the maps balanced well?
Kashyyyk was a strange one because it wasn't too hard landing on the beach, and we would always make it to the middle, but then pretty much every match, like the server dropped off really fast. So, like in player count.
Yeah, that's not really a map issue then, is it?
Yeah, so I wasn't really able to get the final phase, but I never made it to the final phase in Kashyyyk. But I know in the final phase, I think you go like into like a Venator itself. You just walk on into it and have to capture it. So it becomes a bit of a just corridor battle at that point. But everything else that I experienced was a lot of fun. And my god, they really need to make tanks usable.
Like, I know there's an issue with the AT-AT, or not the AT-AT, the fuck, what's it called?
The AAT droid tank? Or...
No, the AT-AT.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not in the mod.
What do you mean? The
The
AT-AT?
ATX is the walker. The little walker.
No, they have the
Hey,
big
that's
one.
good. ATRTs?
My bad. ATRT.
The fucking AT-TE.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. I was like
Yeah.
trying to get myself corrected.
Yeah, but they have it in the game, and the only issue with it is, well, not the only issue, but one of the biggest issues with it is that you need to aim below it because it's actually an invisible Bradley. So
Yeah,
it
when
doesn't
it comes to the
work.
tanks, you literally cannot aim them. Like they fight where they fire where your tank is pointed, and that's it.
Yeah.
So literally, if you're on any piece of uneven terrain, you can't hit shit. So
Yeah, honestly, they should just make it where one person drives, one person guns.
well, I think it's just because they haven't finished the vehicles yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the vehicles are still kind of new at this point.
Oh,
Yeah, I really like their AAT texture though. It looks so nice. Like the white and tan. Mwah, I love it.
It's looking to be a genuinely good mod.
Oh, so good, dude. This is gonna, like, I get to experience that original, like, Star Wars mod from Battlefield 1942, but for real this time.
Hell yeah.
Probably won't be as, like,
Off topic, I want to get Postscriptum, because Postscriptum's looking hotter and hotter every update.
Oh, they're doing a really good job. Every time I check it out, it just, Like, Hell Let Loose, dude, it's taking its sweet time, dude.
Oh my. Like, they just added a new map.
Another one? Like,
Yeah.
outside of D-Day?
No, not Postscriptum. Hell Let Loose did.
Oh, Hell Let Loose, okay.
They added, I forgot the battle was called. What? Fuck, it was like a forest map. I don't remember what map exactly.
Giants of Corellia.
Hell yeah, they added Giants of Corellia. They're like, we know how much you loved this map in Battlefield 4. Here's the World War II version.
It's a combination of two maps, Dawnbreaker and Giants of Corellia.
Oh yeah.
World War II.
Hell yeah, that's hot. That is fucking hot.
Ooh, one of my friends, Justin here, made a review. Awesome.
So, is the stream still going, by the way? I assume
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
been going.
Alright, so, you guys want to talk about fucking DICE Sweden for a minute?
No, don't.
Yeah,
No, don't, Lewis.
yeah, we should. Come on.
You know, Dice LA is making their own FPS right now.
Really?
Yeah, Dice LA was reorganized. Turns out they weren't, like... Wait a minute. Nope, it's just not taking into account. Okay, so here's the article. Dice LA is making their own, like, FPS game. But, that being said, pretty much all of the original
like
developers of Dice LA were moved to Respawn, meaning this isn't the same Dice LA as, like, the Battlefield 3 and 4 remakers.
Also, the map is Assault on Hill 400. That's the map.
Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure it's another
was my
Hurtgen
favorite when I was
Forest.
a wee little lad.
Is that another Hurtgen Forest map? Yes, it is a Hurtgen Forest map. Which I do like Hurtgen Forest. It's a really cool battle. The Battle of Hurtgen Forest, yes.
Mm.
It looks like a really cool map, by the way.
I like that. That's a nice aesthetic it has.
Hurtgen Forest is just a really cool place.
It- It's like the perfect meld between World War One and Two. That very standard look, but it's just like that good look, you know?
You see, I think the thing with it is that it looks really bleak, but it still has some color to it.
Yeah, I was really thinking about getting oh my god, I totally forgot the name. The World War One game, the Verdun. Yeah, but like the other one,
Oh,
standalone Verdun.
wait,
They combined the two actually.
no, there's still two different games. I know what you're talking about though. The one set on the Eastern Front.
Yeah. Cause dude, I watched 1917, man. Freaking great movie. No, all I was thinking about was World War One.
Where did you watch it?
I think Lee San just bought it. Just watched it.
Oh, you just stole it from Lee San's account. All right, nice.
No, she's like, I bought this, but Piggy doesn't want to watch it with me. You want to watch it? I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, nice.
See, I can steal it. If only she knew how rentals worked. 'Cause now she won't be able to watch it with Piggy without paying again.
Oof.
She said we'll watch it later, and I just didn't tell her.
Nice.
Ooh, black men with red caps and blue chests.
So, Coconut, let's talk about EU.
I don't know, man.
Huh?
I don't know, man.
You don't know?
I don't know, man.
What? Usually you rant for literal hours about it.
I just don't want to be depressed right now. I'm pretty depressed. Talking about canon for this long. I've never talked about canon for this long, Louis.
I know.
Don't worry, next week we're doing
you seem a
the
little
sequels.
Oh,
yeah.
man. Oh, man. Same time, same day?
Yeah, we can.
Perhaps, yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. Alright.
Tannenberg, that's the name.
Tannenberg, we found it. Yeah, I think we're really done with Star Wars talk now.
Yeah, I think the
Tannenberg.
Star Wars talk kind of ended. Should I just end the stream?
Yeah, probably.
Alright, I'll end it.
Any parting words?
I give
Episode
Star Wars: The
7,
Clone Wars Season
right.
7 a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, Star Wars Season 7, alright. It's pretty okay.
Yeah. What about you,
I
Coconut?
give it 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
Kind of disappointing, but I mean, it was enjoyable mostly. Correction, there were enjoyable parts, but honestly, I think the other seasons were better.
Ooh, Tannenberg, dude. Look at it. It looks nice.
Yeah, we definitely had.
Oh,
Like,
oh, look at
not
that
every-
mustache.
all seasons have had their bad parts. But I feel
Yeah,
like,
but like 90% of season 7 was trash.
yeah, like other seasons they were longer and they just had a lot more.
Just give us more episodes, dude. More Order 66.
There were just more ideas in the other seasons. There's just more things to think about.
Yeah,
Which honestly, I think the best part about Clone Wars is when they make you actually have to think about things instead of telling you, which is kind of rare.
yeah,
Either that, or if it's just really cool. Either has to have really like a large cool factor, or it has to actually, make me think about something.
yeah. But yeah, if it was longer, it could have definitely done a lot more with what. Like, we still have a lot of questions like Wolf and Gregor, and
Mm-hmm.
there's just
Well,
more questions
yeah,
that could have been answered, and then
Push
more
him
almost
aside.
unfinished
Instead.
episodes that could have also been finished.
Ooh, look at the dolphins, dude.
Yeah, but I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. All right, I guess bye to YouTube for this week.
Alright. Look forward
Adios,
to
amigo.
the trash bin that's going to be next week.
Same time, same day.
Yeah, yeah. Did you get any viewers on this?
I got like 4.
Sick.
I only have 14 subscribers, so
Do you want me to also host this? I haven't posted a video in years, but last time I checked, I had around 500 subscribers.
Oh shit! I mean, if you hosted and I hosted, like we both recorded and then linked each other.
I need to check out my shit. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of a celebrity.
Imagine these fucking people. They haven't fucking seen you post in literal years, and then you just post like a fucking 4-hour podcast about Star Wars.
I mean, hey, Drake getting some views probably, and then you also like.
Unless the algorithm fucks them.
Algorithm fucks everyone.
Well.
Ooh, I lost 200 subscribers, dude. I have 310 right now.
Ooh.
Although, most popular video? Oh, God. Maybe it's that one. Never mind, guys.
The mystery box one, isn't it?
43K for that beautiful thing. 43K.
I